For the second straight year, Grambling and Jackson State will vie for the SWAC Championship. Can Jackson State repeat, or will it be revenge for Grambling? It's the SWAC Championship from Birmingham, Alabama, next. Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama for the 10th edition of the SWAC Championship game. It's Jackson State, the defending SWAC champs, take on Grambling in a rematch of last year's title game won by Jackson. Let's revisit the 2007 championship game, a big day for quarterback Jimmy Oliver for Jackson State. Here a 17-yard touchdown pass to Chris Johnson. And then it was Marcellus Speaks with one of 3 interceptions for Jackson. Oliver with his 3rd touchdown pass of the day, 15 yards to Terrence Jones as Jackson State wins it big. Hello again, everyone. Charlie Neal along with my partner Jay Walker. Welcome to Birmingham, Alabama. And Jay, even though this is a repeat of last year's championship game, early on in this season, neither team acted like they wanted to be here. But the fact of the matter is they are here. What made the difference?
They found their identity. And the identity for both of these teams is defense, defense, defense. If defense wins championships, you're going to see it here this afternoon. 2 quality defensive programs that can carry their team to a championship. For Grambling, it was a team effort. And for Jackson State, they've got star power on the defensive side of the ball. And their key player, the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year, Marcellus Speaks. He leads the conference in tackles for losses. What does that mean? He simply makes a living in the opposing offense's backfield, creating havoc every opportunity he can. If Jackson State's going to win a championship today, look for Marcellus Speaks to be a big part of it.
And for Grambling State University, their quarterback Greg Dillon, his development and maturation made the difference. He struggled early on in the year, but he's also the reason why they come into this game with a 9-game winning streak.
And because he matured as a leader, that's why he's the SWAC Newcomer of the Year. He realized it wasn't his responsibility to win the football game. They just wanted him to do game management. Don't turn the football over and allow this great defense an opportunity to win games for us.
And it's the 10th time that the SWAC has held a championship game. Grambling has won 4. Jackson State is looking for 2. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama in just a moment.
The Southwestern Athletic Conference is dedicated to offering challenges.
Back here at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal for the SWAC Championship game. Jackson State against Grambling. Both bands are here. As you see, they're rocking the stands on the Grambling side of the field. In fact, one of the bands who's going up to D.C. for the inauguration parade for Senator or President-elect Barack Obama. And you look at the battle of these 2 Tigers and the overall stats for them this year. Jackson State at one point, Jay, was 1-4 on the season. They finished 7-4. They finished strong.
I think that tells you what type of team Coach Comagese has. Mentally tough. Physically, they can get it done, but their mental aptitude to take a 1-4 start is phenomenal.
And there you look at Rod Broadway in his 2nd year. And there's the 2nd-year coach of the Tigers of Grambling State University. He has won 51 career games and has done a pretty good job here at Grambling. In 2 years, he's gotten the team into the SWAC Championship game.
All he does is win. When he was at North Carolina Central, he won. Came to Grambling, kept on winning. The legacy continues at Grambling State University. Rod Broadway, one of those legends coaching at Grambling State.
18-6 overall here at Grambling, and his counterpart, who had a successful Division II career at Tuskegee in his 3rd season at Jackson State, and he has a team in the championship game for the 2nd straight year.
And same thing can be said about Coach Comagese. What does he do? He wins. At Central State, he won. At Tuskegee, he won time and time again. And at Jackson State, won a championship last year, trying to make it back-to-back. Both of these programs are similar with their coaches. Both coaches are defensive coaches. They like to control the game with defense, and that's why they've got programs that are physically and mentally tough and always prepared.
There you're looking at Louis Leal, the junior out of Houston, Texas. Grambling in their dark uniforms. They are the home team today. Jackson State in the visiting white jerseys, and they'll receive the opening kickoff to start this 10th edition of the SWAC Championship game. Leo kicking it off from the 12-yard line. Jackson State on the return, and not much running room on the return for Carlos Everett, who gets it back across the 25 to about the 27-yard line before Mott made the stop, a 15-yard return. So Jackson State will get the ball first. They'll start at their own 27-yard line. Seven and 4, 6-1 in conference play, Jackson State this year. James Woody is the offensive coordinator. Trey Rutland, the left-handed quarterback, transferred from Mississippi State. Luther Edwards is the lone setback behind him on 1st down and 10. He wants to go to the air. Under a little pressure, dumps it off, and it's incomplete. Big number 50, Cliff Exema, was the man who got his hands on it for Grambling State. As you look at Jackson State's backs and receivers, the tight end is Marcel Frost, and he's going to be factored into the offense in the passing game today. As far as the offensive line is concerned, look at Michael Harshaw. He's a first-team All-Southwestern Athletic Conference selection. 2nd down and 10 now. As you look at James Woody with the sunglasses on there, he's the offensive coordinator. Here's Marcel Frost, number 8, the tight end who transferred in from Ohio State. On 2nd down, again, the pass in the air on the far sideline. It's complete and out of bounds. Are they calling it incomplete? Now Tillman was the man, the intended receiver on that play. Grambling State's defense. The defensive line, Christian Anthony is the first-team all-conference selection. He intercepted 2 passes this year. As far as the linebacking core, Keith Hall is the team's leading tackler. And in the secondary, Kenneth Anio has 6 career interceptions for this season. It is 3rd down. That was a complete pass. It was good for 5 yards. 3rd down and 5. Here's Rutland diving forward, and looks like he has enough for the 1st down at the 38-yard line. Christian Anthony, the junior, a local young man from here in Birmingham, Alabama, went to Carver High on the tackle. That play good for 6 yards.
That was a great job by Trey Rutland of realizing that the coverage was extended in the Grambling secondary. No place to go. Make a quick decision. Pick up the positive yardage needed to gain 1st down to keep alive. They're going to look for Rutland to make those types of plays this afternoon for the Jackson State Tigers.
Bolela, Darius Bolela, freshman out of Jackson, Mississippi. 2nd back in the eye, and he gets the call and goes straight ahead and across the 45 to the 46-yard line.
That's a good sign for Jackson State. Coming into this game, we knew that both teams wanted to try and run the football. That's how you run the ball control offense. If Jackson State can figure out a way to run against that 8-man box by Grambling State, look for them to have a good opportunity to win the championship.
Bolela, 2nd back in the eye after an 8-yard gain. It is 2nd down and 2. Bolela again. He has the 1st down across midfield and into Grambling territory. T.J. McCord, number 16 there, to make the stop defensively, but 15 yards on 2 carries for Bolela.
Yeah, good job by the left side of that offensive line for Jackson State. Just getting the body on the body, having a pitch block on the outside, the tackle blocking down number 60, Eric Jones, doing a good job of getting to the 2nd level, allowing a wide open hole for Bolela to explode through.
So another 1st down gain by the Tigers of Jackson State. They're moving the chains, and they have a 1st down facing them in Grambling State territory. Bolela again bounces it to the outside, is still rolling down inside the 45 to about the 42. The ball comes loose and is picked up by Castleberry. Lance Castleberry, the strong safety. Now let's see the ruling on the field. It is Grambling's ball. So we have the first turnover of the ball game, a fumble, and let's see if Grambling can capitalize.
It seemed as if the freshman was getting that extra yardage, and so many times we see the running backs trying to get that extra yard, not hold on to the football. Great job of coming up with the strip for Grambling in the secondary to pull that ball right out of the hands of the running back. Fantastic job by Lance Castleberry. Never give up on the play until the whistle blows. He stripped that ball away from Bolela.
So Andre Wright is in the backfield. Correction, make that Cornelius Walker in the backfield for Grambling State University. And Walker has the ball on 1st down and 10. Greg Dillon is the quarterback. He started his college career at Louisiana Monroe and then matriculated over to Grambling. He's from Bogalusa, Louisiana. Second team all-conference selection and the newcomer of the year in the Southwestern Athletic Conference this season.
I know you're such a sophisticated man. Matriculated is the same as saying he just transferred to Grambling. Okay. Make it simple for a former football player like myself.
It is second down. No gain on the last play. Here's Dillon. He sees an opening. He takes off and runs. Down inside the 40. Puts his head down and gets the first down before Timothy Clark makes the stop defensively. Let's look at the offensive line and backs and receivers for the Tigers of Grambling State University. We talked about Cornelius Walker, the sophomore. He's one of the running backs back there, number 27. You see his back there to you. Third leading rusher in the conference. Second team all-conference selection. It is first down and 10. Grambling trying to take advantage of a mistake early by the Tigers of Jackson State. And here's Walker on the carry down to the 31-yard line. A gain of 5 on that play. Speaks on the stop defensively, the middle linebacker. First team all-conference selection, defensive player of the year. As you look at the backs and receivers for Grambling, Cornelius Walker, we talked about. The offensive line for them is led by Rive Smith. He's a senior and a first team all-conference selection. He will graduate from Grambling next Friday. Still has another year, though, of eligibility left. Second down for the Tigers of Grambling. Dillon under pressure, gets away, and down the sideline he goes and run out of bounds at about the 29-yard line by Neil Pogue. A gain of 3 on the play, but I'll tell you, he had some pressure coming from big number 92 in the backfield, Dennis Coit, who a lot of people felt should have made the all-conference team but didn't. As you look at Jackson State's defensive line, Marcus Bernard, one of the best pass rushers in the football championship subdivision. We talked about Marcellus Speaks, the SWAC defensive player of the year, and the secondary led by senior Dominic Johnson, who was a defensive MVP in last year's championship game here in Birmingham. Again, Walker on the carry straight ahead, and Pogue there to stop him, number 91, defensively a gain of 1.
Good job of just plugging the middle. You talked about Dennis Coit earlier, 6'1", 320 pounds. He's got a motor there. We saw in the previous play, he actually never gave up his pursuit on Greg Dillon and forced Dillon to move backwards before he went forward.
Fourth down, 8 of 20 this year in fourth down conversions, and they may have gotten it with the offsides by Jackson State. It was fourth and about a yard, and they were going for it. And let's see who the penalty marker's on.
Very interesting, because there was movement on both sides. You know, was it brought about? I don't know. We'll let the officials tell us.
On defense, number 90, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, they called it on 90. It probably was on someone else. But anyway, let's look at it once again, Jay.
So you see them coming, and I'll give them credit. Give them credit. They were the offensive line was reacting to the defense after the defense had gotten into the neutral zone. So good job by the offensive line for Grambling.
First down and 10 after the penalty marker against Jackson State. On the end around, coming to the near side is Baptiste, and Baptiste dropped down at the 20-yard line after a gain of 2 by Timothy Clark, the strong safety, number 17.
Adjustment being made early in this first quarter by Grambling State offensively. They have not had the success running the ball up the middle. So what do? You try to attack the perimeter, trying to see if you can pick up yardage on the outside. So early on in this contest, give credit to the front court for Jackson State. Seems as if they've seized early control of the line of scrimmage.
Jackson State came into the game defensively, giving up an average of 73 yards a game.
800 yards. They wouldn't be
800
here.
for the season, average of 73 yards a game.
Rushing, I mean, that's fantastic. Anytime you can hold a team to only 73 yards rushing for 4 quarters, you've got a good defense. And most of the time when you see numbers like that, it starts with good interior line play.
It does, and of course, Grambling, on the other hand, averaged 160 yards rushing, and they call a timeout. There was something that the quarterback Greg Dillon didn't like, and he called a timeout. We'll be back.
All trucks haul. All trucks tow. They all push, yank, carry, and heave. All trucks work. Our truck works for less. The lowest cost of ownership of any full-size pickup. And now, J.D. Power & Associates' highest-ranked large pickup in initial quality. Chevy Silverado, America's best truck.
I kind of knew their reaction would be a little like, you know, what do you...
Back here in Birmingham, Alabama for the SWAC Championship game. Glad you could join us for it. Along with Jay Walker, I'm Charlie Neal. Grambling threatening after recovering a fumble for Jackson State. And they've driven all the way down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line of Jackson State. They're facing a 2nd and 12. And Baptiste, he wanted to get into the end zone early. He took off before the ball was snapped. They had just gotten a delay of game penalty, and now they're going to get a false start.
Number 15, offense, 5-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
So now it's 2nd and 17 after the penalty. Dillon throws, has a complete across the middle, and it's at Nick Lewis. And Nick Lewis gets it all the way down to about the 14, make it the 16-yard line, a gain of 13 on the play. It'll still bring up a 3rd down and about 4 before Marcus Jamison was there to make the stop defensively. Nick Lewis had the big game against them earlier this season, scored the only offensive touchdown in the Grambling 14-5 win back on September 20th.
That's what you want from your seniors. You want your seniors to play like seniors, like they've been here before, and they know what it takes to win a championship. Nick Lewis doing a good job coming underneath the zone coverage, picking up the big play.
Dillon wants to go to the air again, throws it, and is complete for a 1st down inside the 10. That'll be 1st and goal, and on the receiving end was Terrence Dunn, the senior out of Jackson, Mississippi.
Get a soft zone coverage. What do? Find a bubble. Good job by Greg Dillon recognizing the soft spot in the defense. So if you can do that and you've got time to protect up front, that allows your quarterback the opportunity to go through his progression. Wide receivers the opportunity to get downfield, find the soft spot in the zone coverage.
In the backfield, Walker and Warren, 2 good running backs, and they give it off to Warren. Frank Warren finally stopped by Marcus Jamison after a 4-yard gain. Down to the 5, it'll be 2nd and goal.
Everybody talks about, well, how do you run the football? And for me, it's always been, if you can't throw the football, you can't run the football. You know, the offensive line can do so much, but you have to have the threat of a passing game in order to open up holes for the running game. And with the past 2 completions by Grambling State have opened up holes for the running game.
Out of the shotgun. A lot of movement going on in the backfield there. Dillon calling the action. From the 5. And it's a touchdown. Touchdown to Kiar Thompson. For him, his 6th touchdown reception of the year. And for Grambling, this is something I'm sure they're very pleased with, because they've had trouble scoring early on in ball games this year, especially in the 1st quarter.
You take on a team and you beat them by a score of 14-5, you know the points are going to be at a premium. So anytime you can get on the scoreboard first and allow your defense to do what they do well, really put you in a tremendous advantage.
Leal on for the point after. It is blocked. And he will not put this one through. But it remains a 6-0 ball game. He was 29 of 35 in PATs before that one. And we'll be back. Kiar Thompson has put Grambling on the board with the 5-yard touchdown reception. The sophomore out of Burbank High in Sacramento, California. His 6th touchdown reception of the year. And Grambling has taken a 6-0 lead. Carlos Everett, one of the deep men to return the kick of Lewis Leal, along with Cedric Dixon or Mitchell Moten. Mitchell Moten there, you're looking at Carlos Everett, Jr. out of Webster, Florida, averaging 28 yards per kickoff return this year. They like to get it in his hands, and they do from the 15. And he's dropped it about the 26, a 9-yard, make that 11-yard gain. On the return, Toby Mott was there to make the stop defensively. Let's look at that point after. What happened, Jay?
Well, take a look. You're going to see Greg McGlure just get bull rushed. He turns around and gets kicked in the head. So, one, as a kicker, you got to get that ball up in the air. You got to take a better angle. And two, on the offensive line, if you're 6'8", 360 pounds, you don't get pushed behind the line of scrimmage. So, double negative there by the Grambling State front. The kicker's got to get that ball up, and McCure can't get bull rush like that. That's why it's a 6-0 lead rather than 7-0.
Luther Edwards, the second back in the eye, has the ball and has nowhere to run. Back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. Lance Castleberry was there to make the stop defensively. Number 2.
Something I think both teams are going to have to do is establish that they can throw the ball on first down. You don't have to go downfield to stretch out the defense, but just get completions on first down. Otherwise, the opposing team will just stack the box on your first down, knowing that you're trying to take the easy way out by running the football.
It is 2nd down and 9. The last drive started at their own 27. They got to the Grambling 44 before fumbling it away. Now Trey Rutland with the pass on the far side, has it complete. Good move and still on his feet, and then outside the 40 to about the 41-yard line was Keenan Tillman, the freshman out of Milton, Florida, gain of 15.
That's what you do. You get very soft coverage on the outside, one-on-one. Just take a 3-step drop, get rid of the ball in a rhythm, get it down, and let your wide receivers make play. Now, he gets away with a cardinal sin. He takes that hitch route. You normally go to the sideline, spin away, because there's nothing but black jerseys coming on the inside. But good job of becoming very athletic after making the catch.
Herring is the up back in the eye in front of Luther Edwards. Rutland again looking to go to the air. Has a man open. If he can throw it to him, he throws it way over his head. Wide open on the near sideline for the Jackson State Tigers was Michael Mosley, number 13.
Mosley is a former quarterback, and he was wide open on the sideline. Such a good athlete. They're allowing him to play wide receiver. But outside of Mosley, also had Carlos Simpson wide open for a touchdown had he been able to slow down and look downfield and keep his head up.
There was a penalty flag down. I think they're going to wave it off.
No. That was eligible downfield. The quarterback threw the ball away, out of bounds, beyond the line of scrimmage. There was no foul on the play.
They say he threw the ball away. That's interesting, isn't it? I never heard that one. Have you?
He's trying to complete this ball over the linebacker's head. It just sails on him a little bit.
So if he'd have completed it, it would have been an eligible man downfield, right?
So great job by the quarterback. See, we talked about his inaccuracy. He turned out to be a heady guy, making a great play throwing the ball away. If you're buying, I'm selling.
2nd down and 10. Jackson State. Rutland again throws too high. Intended it this time for Carlos Simpson. Don't forget, tonight is football night on ESPN. Thursday at Eastern. One college football player will transcend greatness and become a legend. Bradford, McCoy, Tebow invited, but only one will walk away a winner in the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan. And at 9 Eastern, catch the greatest game ever played. Presented by Sprint, a modern airing of the classic game between the Colts and Giants, digitally restored in high-definition color. The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan, the greatest game ever played, presented by Sprint on ESPN Saturday. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Who you like, Jay?
To beat a man, you got to beat the man.
Tebow, huh?
I like Tebow. I just think you've got so many folks on that in the Big 12 conference. They're going to take votes from each other. I mean, who do you give it to if you're a true fan of Big 12 football? Who do you pick? Do you pick Colt McCoy or Sam Bradford?
I like Bradford only because they're in the championship game. Not only because, but I like the numbers he's put up this year.
I mean, that's true, but didn't Colt McCoy beat Bradford? Normally head-to-head matchups mean something in that, and I think that what Tim Tebow do is sacrifice individual stats for team personal gain. His team improved by winning 11 games, only losing 1, and they're playing for a national championship.
Don't you think maybe they should wait till after the national championship game to award the Heisman?
Can't change the rules now, but they've talked about that for years, but I just don't know if that's something you can do. But what an interesting Heisman race. I mean, the Big 12, I think, has really hurt themselves because they've got so much talent down there. I mean, I really believe Michael Crabtree is the best football player in the country. Graham Harrell, fantastic quarterback. He'll get votes. So will McCoy. So will Bradford. I think Tebow just gets all the votes from the SEC, and it could carry him on to his second Heisman.
3rd and 10 now for Jackson. Empty backfield for Rutland. He's going to take off and run, but he's not going to get far.
He might have got hit forward to that first down.
He might have. Tristan Anthony really put the wallop on him. He did get knocked forward across midfield to the 49 after a 9-yard gain, but he's going to be about a yard shy. Let's see what Rick Comegys wants to do here.
I mean, look at this. He's going to be tackled, brought down, but look at the hit to move him forward, and he dove for it as well, and good hit. Did he get close enough to tempt Comegys to go for it possibly on 4th down? Nah, defensive coaches, they just don't do those types of things, Charles.
Brett Bennett on the punt it away. The junior out of Pensacola, Florida, averaging 38 yards per punt. Keir Thompson, who has the touchdown for Grambling, is back to receive it. He's calling for the fair catch. He makes it at the 7-yard line. Almost dropped it after a 43-yard punt. We'll take a timeout here. 6-0. 4:52 left. First quarter.
ESPN's College Football is brought to you by Phillips Norelco. Phillips, sense and simplicity.
One of the landmarks here in Birmingham, Dreamland Barbecue, one of Jay's favorite places. He doesn't come to Birmingham without going to Dreamland, do you?
It's as good as advertised.
I'm going to try to hit it tonight.
Oh, I'll be with you, buddy.
Here's Grambling, second possession. Walker's into the secondary. Still on his feet and finally drug out of bounds inside the 40-yard line at about the 36 after a 29-yard gain by Cornelius Walker. That is not his longest run of the year. Malcolm Palmer finally making the stop defensively. Was that Warren?
That's Frank Warren.
That was Warren.
Great aggressive running here by the sophomore. Get to the inside, bounce it to the outside, make a guy miss, which all great running backs have to do, and then just turn on the jets. JSU fortunate. They could have been called for one of those horse collar tackles the way he was brought down at the end of that run, but good job by Frank Warren.
He's the second back in the eye. This time it's Walker going off the left side and back to the line of scrimmage, and that is all he's going to get as Terrence Onyike made the stop defensively for Jackson State, along with Neil Pogue there.
Going back to even while we question why Comegys doesn't go for it on 4th and 1, keep in mind, you got to play to the strength of your team. You get an opportunity to pin your opponent back within their own 10-yard line. You think your defense does a 3-and-out. You control the battle of field position, but Frank Warren would have nothing of that with that long, explosive run.
And Warren trying to go to the left side this time and sheds one tackle by Timothy Clark, but finally is brought down after a gain of about a yard.
Frank Warren showing that he's got that it that you have to have as a running back, and that's the ability to make the first man miss. Whether you have the strength to power through a run or the shiftiness to not be brought down by one man in open space, Frank Warren is showing he's an athlete on this field this afternoon.
He was the freshman of the year in the Southwestern Athletic Conference a year ago. Frank Warren ran for 901 yards and 5 touchdowns last season. Here's Dillon rolling right and has it complete on the near side to Terrence Dunn, and Dunn is out of bounds, and a first down is gained for the Grambling Tigers. Their second offensive possession of the day. We're under 3:35 to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, good job by Greg Dillon getting on the outside and realizing there was no threat of a pass rush getting to him, so you roll out, then it becomes a run-pass option. You only throw the ball if a wide receiver's wide open. In that case, Dunn was wide open, so he got on the ball, and that's the maturation process we're talking about they've seen in Greg Dillon this season.
Here's Walker with the ball this time, and Walker is inside Jackson State territory and all the way down to the 45-yard line before Marcella Speaks, the defensive player of the year in the conference, makes the stop.
All right, let's take a look at the game plan. What you have to do. Both teams offensively is simple. Ball control. Defense is where the change is. If you're Jackson State, your front four. Can your front four get to the quarterback? If you're Grambling, your front four hasn't gotten to the quarterback all year, so you need your front seven to get the opponent's backfield.
This time it's Baptiste coming around. The second time we've seen them run that with the end around with the wide receiver, the freshman redshirt out of Lafayette, Louisiana, before Timothy Clark, number 17, made the stop defensively.
You know, as we go back to those things on the game plan, let's think about it. That last pass we saw completed by Dillon, front four not able to get there, looseness in the zone. The zone's so used to quarterbacks being rushed. They protect, they can find soft spots in this zone coverage by Jackson State. So right now, the front four of Jackson State not getting it done. Hats off to the offensive line for Grambling.
Considering the fact, as Dillon decides to take off and go straight ahead, that Grambling was sacked more than any other team in the Southwestern Athletic Conference this year, 41 times. And on the other side, defensively, Jackson State was second in the conference in sacks.
Yeah, so, you know, the folks for Jackson State, they were just looking forward to facing this offensive line for Grambling, but give credit in championship games. And the one thing about this Grambling offensive line, they were very young. They start 2 freshmen at tackle. But like you always say, Charlie, at this point in the season, you're no longer a freshman.
Not after 12 games.
Not after 12 games. They've grown up and they're showing that they've improved tremendously on the offensive line.
Dillon under pressure.
Got a man open.
Wide open. It'll be a touchdown. Bakari Maxwell. Or is that 36 on the reception for Grambling? Dante Cheek. Rather than 35, 39 yards on the pass by Dillon. 12-0 is the score.
Great job by the offensive coordinator with the play selection by James Spady. You've got a defense that really likes to try and cause havoc in your backfield. What do? You give them misdirection. You make them think they're running to the left, then you're coming back to the right, then you go vertically down the field. Good job by James Spady. Tremendous play call.
1:34 left in the quarter. Leo, this one
another low kick
is good, but he made it.
He's going to hurt somebody, Charlie.
And it's 13-0. Here's a team that only scored 27 points in the first quarter in their last 6 ball games. But in this one today, they scored 13 in the first quarter.
Look at the misdirection. We're going to run it to the right. No, we're going to boot the quarterback left. Oh, no, we slipped a wide receiver in behind you down the field. So great job with so much misdirection. And when you draw it up like that wide open, oh, yeah. Get excited, young man. Greg Dillon, touchdown. Job well done.
Dante Cheek on the reception for Grambling, the sophomore out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. So they drove all the way from their 7-yard line. They go 93 yards in 8 plays, and they put 7 on the board and lead it 13-0 here.
Yeah, they really, Grambling's playing like they're a team with something to prove. You know, they want to win a SWAC championship. They lost this game last year, but also outside of SWAC championship, the Black College National Championship is coming into play.
It certainly is.
You know, they're very much right there in the race along with South Carolina State.
And Tuskegee.
And Tuskegee. I think Tuskegee's loss really hurt them. They lost at the wrong time of the year. Had a tremendous year down there. Willie Slater and Tuskegee, fantastic football club. But this Grambling team is making the case that, hey, nobody on this level of football may be able to beat us.
And talking to the Grambling players yesterday, they said this is not revenge, this is redemption. There's Simpson. Make that Everett. Everett returning it from the 14-yard line and brings it out to about the 35-36 after an 18-yard return. So this will be Jackson State's 3rd offensive possession of the afternoon. The first one ended in a fumble, which Grambling converted into 6 points.
After they were moving the football, and you see the offensive coordinator, James Woody, there for Jackson State. Right now, he's got to earn his paycheck right now. Your team really needs you to come up with a good drive to get your team back within striking distance. You got to think that your defense is going to figure out what Grambling's doing sooner or later, but you've got to get some points on the board to give your defense a chance so they can feel like they're going to be back into it.
Best starting position for Jackson State today from their own 32. And again, the going gets rough. On the running side, Luther Edwards on the carry. Kendall Robinson there defensively, just a yard gained on the play.
Yeah, tough running right now, and everything seems to be going the way of the Tiger. Grambling State Tiger, that is. Yeah. They're doing a good job. They're starting to control that line of scrimmage, calling the plays in terms of forcing the hands of Jackson State.
We have 3 Tigers in the SWAC.
Jackson, Grambling, and Texas Southern.
Texas Southern.
We got a maroon tiger, a blue tiger, and a black tiger, huh?
And they're
a Jaguar.
And they're all dangerous.
That's a good point there, Charles. I just never thought about that. And you got a Jaguar, and you got a Panther.
And you have a Panther.
They got cats all over the place,
They
don't
certainly
they?
do. Matthews on the stop of the quarterback, Rutland. Rutland, first 4 games of the year, 3 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The last 7 games, 4 touchdowns, only thrown 1 pick.
That's why they're here. You know, had he continued at the pace he was on early, they wouldn't have been here. 1-4. Part of it was his responsibility, put him in the hole, but I like to give him credit for playing himself out of that hole.
And he's back to pass now on 3rd down. And has the pass complete and a first down gain out to the 45. It's Carlos Everett on the reception. Jeffrey Jack, number 4 there defensively. Everett, the junior out of Webster, Florida. And that's going to probably, after they move the chains and set the down marker, maybe the last play of the first quarter, as the clock is running down to 2 seconds. That is going to end the first quarter. It's been Grambling. They put 13 points on the board. We'll be back.
The Browns take 9 at 8 on ESPN, followed by the greatest game ever played.
As we start the second quarter here in Birmingham at Legion Field, Grambling on top of Jackson State in this championship game of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, 13-0. Jackson State with the ball, first down and 10. And here's a handoff to Smith, and Smith has nowhere to go. Gerard Smith hit immediately by Christian Anthony, a first-team all-conference selection, and Keith Hall, a linebacker, a second-team all-conference selection.
Wow, you know why Christian Anthony was so in the backfield, nobody blocking him? Great job by the rover, Jeffrey Jack, number 4. Watch him come up with the blitz on the right side. Jack does the penetration, takes 3 Jackson State offensive linemen to block number 4, Jeffrey Jack, leaving the defensive end uncovered, tackle for loss in the backfield.
Jeffrey Jack only goes 208 pounds.
He was coming with a full head of steam. He used his quickness.
Empty backfield for Rutland. The left-hander puts it in the air. Throws it high and it's dropped. Incomplete. Intended for Simpson. Carlos Simpson, the intended receiver. He led the team in receptions, I should say, coming into the ball game with 42, and he just couldn't hold on to that one.
You know, the rhythm right now is not there for Jackson State offense. This ball should be gone right now, but he hesitates. That gives Simpson some time to think. Clearly a ball that he should have come home with. Carlos Simpson, you got to make that catch. You're the senior wide receiver for this young Tiger wide receiving core. But a curl route and a hitch route are timing routes. You know, you want to run, turn around, ball should be there. If you sit there and wait 1,000, 1,002, disrupts the rhythm of the passing game.
Third down. This time, good Tillman. And Tillman's still going to be shy of a first down by about a yard. And Kenneth Anio was there defensively. And that is the 4th completion for Trey Rutland today out of 8 attempts.
Now, did you notice the timing on that one? As soon as he came back for the football, it was there. Rutland had a good rhythm, took 5-step drop, hitch step, delivered a strike, good thrown ball.
I think Comagese is going to gamble this time, maybe or maybe not. It's 4th and 1.
If your defense is that good, you got to think, if you don't get it, they should be able to stop Grambling at some point in this contest.
Rutland.
Oh, wow.
Incomplete and almost intercepted. And it goes incomplete. They'll turn it over on downs. Copeland was the man who almost came up with it. It was batted in the air, and we have a player shaken up on the field for, well, that's the official that's shaken up on the field. One of the referees is down. I think that may be the young, or is that no, that's not a referee. That is a player. Sweeney. We'll be back.
Three of man's proudest accomplishments: the wheel, fire, and the tailgate. Wait a minute.
Grambling leading 13-0. 3rd offensive possession for them. Walker in the backfield. On 1st and 10. Walker hit in the backfield immediately. He couldn't even get going. The big head of steam, and it was Anthony Atkins, number 55 there, and a loss of 6 on the play.
Great play by Atkins, but let's go back to that previous 4th down call. Here's the situation. You got great penetration in the backfield. That's what you need from your defensive line.
So it'll be 2nd down and 16 after that loss. Pretty good football weather here. About 50 degrees. A lone backfield is Walker again, and Walker is still on his feet and is still keeping his legs moving, and he gets back a good chunk of what he lost plus a couple. A game of about 8 before Ryan Rich was there, the sophomore out of Pensacola, Florida, to make the stop.
All right, give it to me one more again. 4th and 1's the situation. Championship game. As a quarterback, when the play call comes in, you got to be thinking either guy's wide open or I'm going to take off running. That late in the progression, for guys on his back, you saw there was wide open lanes to run. When your quarterback, when your offensive coordinator makes that play call, he's saying if somebody's not wide open, just run forward and give me that yard. Trey Rutland decided to force the pass. Incompletion.
Right now, Dillon gets the 1st down, still on his feet inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line. Greg Dillon using his legs this time before Timothy Clark made the stop. He's already thrown 2 touchdown passes today. Now he runs for a 1st down.
Hey, when you got a team that's relying on getting the front 4 to bring pressure to you, as a quarterback, you think the running game is all on me. So Dillon calling his own number, getting positive yardage, pick up the 1st down.
This Grambling team started the season losing to Nevada. They beat Alcorn, lost to Northwestern, and since that time they've been unstoppable as they reel off 9 straight wins. Dillon again under a little pressure, and he is sacked. Are they going to call intentional grounding? Yes. They're going to call intentional grounding as Sam Washington, the junior. They call him V12. Well, he looked like a Maserati on that one, tracking down the quarterback, didn't he?
Oh, he can go. Great hustle. That's the way you got to get after the quarterback. And this is a good defensive front line.
Intentional grounding on the quarterback. Number 1, foul at the spot of the foul, and lost it down. 2nd down.
Take a look at coming from that defensive end position. Dillon's a mobile quarterback, but Washington just not going to give up. Leaves his feet just in time, and the quarterback was down there. Knee was down on the ground, and they had review. We don't have instant replay on this level, but good job by Sam Washington beating his man around that edge and hawking down the quarterback.
Walker in the backfield with the quarterback, Dillon. Under pressure again, and the pass is complete to Lewis. Right in front of the Jackson State bench. He goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
That was a big-time throw by Greg Dillon. The pocket was evaporating quickly, and he still managed to throw an accurate pass out there to Lewis to pick up some yardage that they needed. Something to look out for. That Grambling offensive line starting to struggle with this pass rush from Jackson State.
One of the things you talk about Greg Dillon, you know, he wasn't scheduled to be the quarterback this year. Brandon Landers, they thought, was coming back. He decided to leave school, or well, I should say he was academically ineligible on the eve of fall practice. So he kind of fell into the job by default, and he has done a pretty good job. He gets this one complete this time. And again, it is Nick Lewis on the reception for Grambling before Dominique Johnson, the first-team all-conference defensive back from Jackson State, made the stop. But more importantly, you know, even going into the season, him and J.P. Tillman, they kind of battled back and forth in terms of who was going to be the starter, and finally Dillon won out.
That's what happens when you've got one guy that's supposed to be the starter. When you're the backup, you're kind of on cruise control. You don't take the game as seriously because you don't know when you're going to play. And then once the starter is eliminated, then all of a sudden the 2 backups had to compete for the job, and Broadway had to make a decision in terms of who the better one was, and Dillon won the job outright. It seems to be a smart choice.
4th down, they're going for it.
Wide
and
open.
The pass is complete, and they're going to say no.
Wow.
Incomplete. And it was Warren on the reception, and they turn it over on downs. So they went for it on 4th down. I don't think they really got their offense in rhythm to run that play. They probably should have called a timeout.
Yeah, Warren just comes out the backfield, curls up. He's open for a while. Speaks, gets there a little bit late in the coverage, and Warren just had this ball go between his hands. Poorly thrown ball by Dillon, threw it low instead of hitting him in his chest, and because of that, 1st down for Jackson State. So finally, the defense for Jackson State holds.
Oh, remember the first one was a result of a turnover, and they got it in pretty good field position. Now at their own 35, Jackson State with the ball, complete on the near side, and it's Brian Jackson with the reception, the junior out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Jeffrey Jack there to make the stop after a gain of 8 yards for Brian Jackson, his 6th reception of the year.
And that's something that Jackson State may be able to utilize. They've got some pretty big wide receivers. Keenan Tillman, 6'5". Then you come along with Brian Jackson. He's 6'4". So if you're going to do the vertical routes, why not give some of these big wide receivers an opportunity to make big plays for you on the outside?
You also have Marcellus Wilder in there right now. Here's the pitch to Edwards, trying to go around the left side, and he's not going to go anywhere. Back to the 40-yard line. He loses about 3 before Lance Castleberry, the junior out of Dallas, Texas, a young man who transferred from Texas El Paso, who transferred just prior to the season a year ago, made the stop defensively.
That's how you play the outside force. You know they're bringing the play to you. They're playing that pitch off the option guy. What do you do? Come up from that cornerback position. Don't allow anybody to get outside you. Good team defense, and that's what the Grambling State defense is all about. Assignment football. They do a good job of studying their playbook and everybody being in the right place.
So they lose yards, and it's 3rd down and a lot out there.
Beautiful
and
catch.
It's a great catch downfield by Carlos Simpson, right at about the 27, making the 26-yard line. That's where they'll spot at a gain of 33 yards for Carlos Simpson.
Man-to-man coverage, find your best wide receiver and make a play. And that's what they did right there. Rutland throws that ball on the outside shoulder. Great job by Carlos Simpson of shielding off the defensive back, making the one-handed grab, and that's what they needed for Jackson State. Something downfield vertically to stretch this Tiger defense.
6 of 11 in the passing department today for Trey Rutland. Empty backfield. He wants to go to the air again under pressure. This one is a floater, and it's intercepted. He was hit as he let the ball go, and they're going to say he was down or not.
Interception. There's a flag on the field.
Well, let's see what happens. There's a penalty marker down. Keith Hall came up with the INT. Christian Anthony was the man who came up with the sack of the quarterback.
Holding on the offense. Number 77, that penalty will be declined. 1st down for Grambling.
Michael Smith was the man holding, and he's the man shaking up. Number 77 there. And we'll take a timeout here. Make it 8:41 to go in the first half. It's still 13-0.
Eddie. ESPN's College Football, brought to you by eHarmony.com. Are you ready to fall in love? And Wrangler, makers of Wrangler Jeans Company. New fits, new styles, great comfort.
As Grambling gets the ball for the 4th time today, after 2 turnovers by Jackson State, the first leading to 6 points for the Tigers of Grambling State University. Now Grambling trying to capitalize again as they start at their own 20. No gain on the last run by Frank Warren. It'll be 2nd down and 10. That's incomplete. In and out of the hands of Dante Cheek, who has a touchdown already today. Prior to the last drive, Jay, Greg Dillon was 7 of 7 in the passing department.
Yeah, as we take a look at this interception here, we know that pressure by Cornelius Anthony just beat his man around the outside. Pressure does that to everybody. An unfortunate turnover there for Jackson State. But as a left-handed quarterback, you like to think Rutland would see the rush coming directly in front of him, have the ability to step up and move, but he was so focused on throwing the ball to the right side that he didn't see what was coming in his face on the left.
3 of 5 in 3rd downs today for the Grambling State team. Here's Dillon. He's had a pretty good day passing. And this one is going to be close to being intercepted. He was out of bounds, and it'll be incomplete. Timothy Clark was the man who almost came up with the INT. Atkins was the man to put pressure on the quarterback, Greg Dillon.
And all of a sudden, Charlie, Dillon hasn't been able to just sit comfortably back in that pocket. And when that happens, you got to rush throws. Then you give the opposing defense an opportunity to make plays. And this ball was almost picked off by Tim Clark. I think he knew how close he was to the sideline and was going to make sure he was in bounds there. But if they can start getting pressure with that front 4, And we're starting to see that happen. This is going to be a very interesting contest. Do not count out Jackson State, even though we know in this contest points are going to come at a premium. But it looks as if that front four is starting to do what Coach Comegys thought they would do in this football game.
And so the punting unit comes on. As you look at Rick Comegys on the sideline, this will be the first time today that Grambling has punted. Now, the last time we saw them in this situation, they faked the punt. And Spivey, who was back there, he's got the green light. If the punt coverage team or the punt return team doesn't do what they're supposed to do, he might take off and run.
And I would think it would be pretty easy to figure out. Anytime you got a punter that's got a number in the 80s, he could be a threat. Wearing number 88, that black and gold looking like Lynn Swan, make sure he kicks the ball first.
Desmond Spivey is the punter, and it's not a good kick. It may have been blocked at the line of scrimmage or tipped, and it does take a pretty good bounce for Grambling despite a poor punt. And Jackson will get the ball when we come back at the 44. Don't forget, Monday Night Football continues in the city of brotherly love. Jamal Lewis, Braylon Edwards, and the Browns take on Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook, and the Eagles. The Browns look to go 3-0 on Monday night and upset the resurgent Eagles. It's Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. Romeo Cornell
needs to win them all.
He's on the hot seat, right?
He needs to win that one, and the week after that, and the week after that.
First down and 10. Jackson State, their best starting position of the day. Gerard Smith on the carry to the right side across the 45 to about the 47-yard line. Jeffrey Jack there defensively, gain of 3 yards on the play. Best starting position for Jackson State. Let's see if they can convert. Now, they've turned the ball over twice today. A fumble which resulted in a touchdown for Grambling State. They missed the extra point, so that was 6 points. Last time it was an interception that they had the ball, but that defense was able to hold. It is second down, 7. This time, Edwards trying to go to the left side. Luther Edwards, the freshman out of Yazoo City. Keith Hall is there. You know, we're talking about the way Jackson State started the season 1-4. They lost their season opener in the SWAC MEAC Challenge to Hampton down in Orlando 17-13. They beat Stillman 17-7, and they lost 3 straight to Tennessee State, Grambling, and Southern University. And since that time, they've reeled off 6 straight games. Unfortunately, though, they have not beaten a team that has a winning record.
And I think the key with them is they lost a lot of talent last year, especially with Jimmy Oliver, and their schedule was so heavily front-loaded with all the competitive teams that understandable how they got off to such a shaky start, but at the end of the season, they won the games they were supposed to win.
Trey Rutland has it complete, and on the reception this time for Jackson State, number 82 there, that is Cedric Dixon.
Follow up on your point there. Let's give credit where credit is due. They have not lost to a team that had less than a winning record as well. So
that's true.
You know, that's something happens when you're going to play those winning teams. You'd like to win some of them, but you know, the key is they haven't let a team with a losing record come in and upset them.
Play action.
Good fake.
Plenty of time. Now he's going to take off, runs into one of his own men, and gets it down to about the 36-yard line before Kenneth Anio was there defensively. A gain of 7 for Jackson State.
One of these plays, just such a great offensive fake. Offensive line lost track of where the quarterback was, and they've got big number 79 in there now. Terrio Williams in the backfield playing because of the injury that took place earlier to Michael Smith. So,
well, you know, one of the things, and we've seen some errant passes by Trey Rutland. He's been battling some tendonitis in his shoulder, and we might, you know, we thought we might even see Michael Mosley, who both of them shared time in their last outing against Alcorn in the Capital City Classic. Here's Rutland going up top, looking for Tillman, and Tillman makes the adjustment, but they may get offensive pass interference. What do you think, Jay?
Whoa. I just think when you've got a guy that Keenan Tillman at 6'5", and you go after the matchup, you know, let him go for it. I don't know if you can call that push. I've seen
I think they're going to call. I think that's what they're going to call, though.
They're going to call the push off, but it was a jump ball, and he just played a little basketball there. Box out, try and go get the rebound.
Pass interference. On the offense, number 88, 15 yards from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
The ball was thrown with such high arc. It hung in the air for a while, so this is anybody's ball. Now take a look here at the end of this one. I mean, they're both going to get it. I mean, Charlie, we've definitely seen worse.
Nigel Copeland was the man covering number 8 down there.
This is the jump ball. We've seen worse, but, you know, hey, sometimes you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar.
Well, Tillman was there. He made the adjustment, made the catch, but they accused him of pushing off Nigel Copeland. Jeffrey Jack also back there defensively. It is second down and 18. Coming to the near side, not much running room this time for Edwards. Otis Young there defensively. You know, this Jackson State team was ranked number 1 in the conference this year in terms of time of possession. I mean, they could hold on to the football.
Yeah, the only problem with that, you know what else they're ranked number 1 in? Most penalized team in the SWAC conference. So if you specialize in ball control, then you can't continue to be as heavily penalized as they have been. And they're back-to-back in that aspect. Back-to-back representatives on the eastern side of the conference. And Coach John Comagene, one thing you got to work on is you're back-to-back in leading the conference in most penalized yards. And once they learn to stop hurting themselves, this is going to be a football team that's going to be potent for years to come.
106 yards a game in penalties, and there we go. And the sack by Christian Anthony. And he is just solidifying his position as first-team all-conference selection this year.
Good job of just coming off the ball. And, you know, you can tell they have trouble over there on that left side. You know, they had a left tackle in there that wasn't getting it done early, and Michael Smith. Now they're bringing in Williams to back him up, and neither one of them can stop Christian Anthony. So he's having a field day. Anytime you got defensive line coming off the field smiling, oh, he's having fun out there.
Bruce Bennett back to punt it away. Kier Thompson back to receive it for Grambling. This is a good hang time. Fair catch call for it made at the 22-yard line by Thompson after a 35-yard punt. And of course, we talk about Grambling State. You know, they've had some very famous football alums, and you know a lot of them very well. Well, not a lot of them, Jay. You know one of them. I know.
I know a couple of them there. Willie Davis, Buck Buchanan, the guys, the first 4 Hall of Famers. Everybody in the country knows them, but you got Doug Williams, and another legend here in attendance today. You got James Harris, who's here at this game today, now at the Jaguars, and the list goes on and on. We don't want to cause any controversy now. We didn't have enough space to hold all the legends of Grambling football.
Here's a pass that's complete, and running up the field for the Grambling Tigers, number 80, and that's Damian Jefferson on the reception, an 8-yard gain. Malcolm Palmer, the free safety, there to make the stop for Jackson State.
Imagine this, Charlie. If Jackson State does not get the football back again in this first half, you know how many quarters that would be they have faced Grambling this year and not scored an offensive touchdown?
Quite a few.
6.
Yeah.
Oh, good option.
To the near side and keeping the ball. Dillon goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line and picks up pretty good yards.
This is option football, Charlie. You know, when you run the option, what are you supposed to do? In man on the line of scrimmage. Look, fake the dive option. Who's the option guy? Last man on the line of scrimmage. Put a fake on him. Cut inside. That's option football.
But a penalty is going to nullify that good run.
Holding on the offense. Number 74, 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
Ricky Jackson, transfer from West Los Angeles Junior College out of Los Angeles, California. Don't forget Sunday night, Matt Winter hosts Bowl Mania on ESPN. They'll rank all 34 bowl games in regards to how confident Jesse Palmer is with them winning their games. Bowl Mania presented by Assurant Health on ESPN Sunday night at 8:30. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal. Here's a little play action, and Dillon cannot get away. He was trying to quarterback option number 26, Malcolm Palmer, again there. He's one of those hybrid defensive backs, free safeties, a combo linebacker and defensive back.
Call him a rover. You know, he's one of those guys, he roves around the field, finds a good location, but most of the time when you see Malcolm Palmer, he's going to be around the football, close to that line of scrimmage. Good job forcing the runner quarterback to try and run the football making the tackle. He's a good football player, Malcolm Palmer. When you've got a guy with a good football IQ along with athletic ability, you can just kind of let him roam anywhere you want to in the secondary and assume that he's going to be in the right place at the right time.
And you talked about Grambling State's famous alum. How about Jackson State? They have some pretty good alum of their own.
For me, it all starts. For you, it's Lim Barton.
Lim Barton.
Yeah, that's your man.
Yeah.
We love Lim. Jackie Slater, you know, growing up in California, hey, Rams, one of the best of all time in sweetness. Walter Payton and Jimmy Smith. I make the argument once upon a time, Jimmy Smith was the best wide receiver in the NFL. When he was down there in Jacksonville getting it done, nobody had the answer for him. And of course, at Jackson State, got numerous alum, too, that we're also not putting on there, just don't have enough room on the graphics department. But you can make the argument that these are the two most storied black college franchises in the SWAC conference.
They keep the ball on the ground. Warren is into the secondary and has picked up the first down on 3rd and 20. Dominique Johnson on the stop, a 24-yard gain.
Good job of just exploding into the secondary, and the offensive line just looking for a crease. You got to be thinking the draw is coming 3rd and forever, and you see good running there and a great open field tackle by Johnson, or else that would have been a touchdown. But Grambling State made a quarterback change, brought in J.P. Tillman, so you got to think they're not going to throw the football right away. Warren helping out his quarterback.
Number 9 in the SWAC in passing efficiency, and he lets it go upstairs, and this is going to be incomplete. Nick Lewis, the intended receiver. Young covering defensively for Jackson State. Marcel Young, number 9.
Now let's talk about what this means with J.P. Tillman playing quarterback rather than Dillon. You can just tell by looking at him in the camera frame that he's a much bigger kid. Doesn't run the football as much. He's a transfer into the program as well. He's more of the pocket passer, likes to sit back and pick apart a defense. That being the case, the strength of the Jacksonville defense, the Jackson State defense, is their front line. Just like the Jacksonville Jaguars, all the same. They like to get after the quarterback. So let's see how this game changes around.
Low snap. He's under pressure, and this goes incomplete. Nick Lewis was the intended receiver. The last time these two teams met, a game tied at 6 after one period. That was all Grambling needed as they scored 20. Oh, there it is. Nick Lewis, J.P. Tillman. That was this year, back on September 20th. And it was the only offensive touchdown of that ball game. It was a 46-yard pass to Nick Lewis. Final was 14-5. It was Tillman in the quarterback then. Here again is Warren. And Warren picking him up and laying him down. Dominique Johnson finally on the stop. Another 24-yard run by Mr. Warren. Frank Warren out of Pleasant Grove, Alabama.
One stat we judge D linemen by are sacks. And when you've got 4 guys trying to get to the quarterback, one of those men has to come off of this pass rush and be the run stopper. And Jackson State's not doing that.
Woo, they came with a vengeance that time. Timothy Clark was at Ryan Rich. Ryan Rich, number 14, the sophomore, and he comes in and sacks the quarterback Tillman.
Bringing pressure on the outside. Okay, the front 4 is not getting there. They think they've got us figured out. We snuck in a 5th rusher on you. You didn't account for him in the passing game. Big hit by Ryan Rich coming from that safety position.
This Grambling team, as we've said, started the season 1-2 and now reeled off 9 straight wins, including big 29-14 win, which put them in the championship game automatically in the Bayou Classic over Southern.
And to some Grambling Knights, that's the only game they got to win all year. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Not according to their president.
Not to the president and the head coach. He wants more than that. But, you know, one of the things at Grambling, that's that argument there. What really is more important? You know, that's the question that needs to be answered. Is the Bayou Classic more important than winning the championship? In a perfect world, you want to win them all. You want to win both. But, I mean, they get so hyped up for that Bayou Classic. At times, it appears to be a letdown, not by the team, but by the fan base of the Grambling State Tigers.
Second down now for Grambling. Here's a little screen on the inside to Keir Thompson. And he is dropped at about the 44-yard line by Marcus Bernard. He's been pretty quiet today, Marcus Bernard. We haven't called his name much. I'm sure he's created some havoc somewhere along the line.
I think he's been getting the double team assignment. He's waiting for the rest of the defensive line to pick up the slack. But right now, they've been hitting these long runs.
Here's a pass out in the flat, and this one is complete to Thompson again. So Keir Thompson having a banner afternoon here. He came into the game with 22 receptions. He already has a touchdown pass, a 5-yard reception that made it 6-0.
And after getting hit a couple times early in this game, J.P. Tillman not holding on to that football. He's making a quick pre-snap read and delivering strikes.
So it's 3rd down. 3rd and about 14. Now this is going against Grambling. This is their 5th penalty in the ball game. So it moves the ball back a little further.
Be careful with the football right now if you're J.P. Tillman. Your team has a 13-0 advantage. Don't do a costly turnover to give Jackson State an opportunity to put points on the board.
And this one is going to hang up there, and it's going to be caught for a 1st down by Nick Lewis. Nick Lewis on the reception at the 21, and only 7 seconds remaining in the half. And now Grambling is going to take a timeout.
Most defensive backs will tell you the hardest pass to defend is an underthrown ball. Marcel Young doesn't even come into our picture frame. He had great coverage on the deep route, but the ball was underthrown. Good job of coming back to the football, and poor Marcel Young was just stuck in no man's land.
And there's J.P. Tillman on the sideline. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, and this is what everybody comes to these SWAC championships and these HBCU games to see, the halftime show. The Sonic Boom Band of the South from Jackson State, the Heisman preview, and then Grambling State's world famous band, who will be marching in Barack Obama's inauguration parade in Washington, D.C. on January 20th, along with your alma mater band. Howard University is going to be there, and also Delaware State. Of course, Joe Biden is vice president elect. He's from the state of Delaware, so Delaware State's band is going to be there. And then Hampton University, Force, out of Virginia.
And you think they're there because the importance of Virginia?
37-yard field goal attempt for Grambling. Louis Leal, this kick is up, and it is no good. Off to the right. Louis Leal with 2 seconds to go. He attempted a 37-yard field goal, and it is no good to try to add to the 13-0 lead.
Just doesn't have enough leg on this.
Yeah,
gets it up in the air. It's just hanging, and it's going to the right and a little bit short.
He's had, he made 8 of 14 before that one. His longest was 44 early in the year against Alabama State. And that comes with 2 seconds left in the half.
So if you're Jackson State, you got to start thinking, if we can get this game close to make it a battle of special teams, seems as if they would have the edge in the kicking department.
But they're just going to take a knee, I believe, Jackson State, in this half. They go into the locker room down 13-0. Grambling taking advantage of a turnover. And the Dillon 39-yard pass to Donnie Cheek, and they lead it.
When I first...
At least not on Monday nights.
Back here at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, the SWAC championship game. Grambling with a 13-0 lead at halftime. And let's go down to the field and enjoy the Sonic Boom of the South, the Jackson State University marching band under the direction of Louis Liddell.
That's a technological phenomenon. It's all right. Jackson State University proudly presents the contemporary sound
Southwestern Athletic.
Don't forget Sunday night, Matt Winter hosts Bowl Mania on ESPN. He'll rank all 34 bowl games in regards to how confident Jesse Palmer is in them winning their game. Bowl Mania presented by Azaran Health on ESPN Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. We're here in Birmingham, Alabama, Legion Field. It's the SWAC Championship. We're at halftime where Grambling is leading Jackson State 13-0. Right now, the Grambling State University marching band is down on the field under the direction of Larry Pennell. Let's listen in. We're at halftime here. Grambling State 13-0 over Jackson State. They missed the extra point on their first touchdown. And it's Greg Dillon with a pair of touchdown passes to his credit. And that is accounted for all the scoring in this 10th edition of the SWAC Championship game here from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, along with my partner, Jay Walker. I'm Charlie Neal. And Jay, your impressions of the first half of this ball game, even though, you know, a decided edge goes to Grambling in terms of total yards, Jackson State is still in this.
They are, and it's still anybody's football game. We talked about the great defenses we would see. Well, one of those defenses got off the bus ready to play, and that's Grambling. They're pitching a shutout. Jackson State defense got pushed around early in the first quarter, but they made some adjustments. It's going to be a very exciting second half.
And, of course, Jackson State turned the ball over a couple times. Jackson State was able to convert at least one of those turnovers into 6 points. The extra point was missed, actually a low kick by the kicker, Lewis Leal. And, of course, Greg Dillon with a pair of touchdown passes.
Yeah, I think that was the key. Talking about the first half for Grambling State, Greg Dillon came out and played very well. He moved the ball, found soft spots in the Jackson State defense, threw 2 touchdown passes there. That was the first one that gave him the early lead, 6-0, and he didn't stop. Got outside the pocket, misdirection with the deep pass downfield, giving them the 13-0 advantage. Greg Dillon came out and played fantastic football in the first half, but be careful. Of note, Dillon left the first half. His status in the second half is undetermined.
It's going to be very interesting to see. And, of course, one of the things we talked about in the first half, Jay, was the fact that Jackson State, one of the most sacked teams, Grambling rather, one of the most sacked teams in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, while on the other side, Jackson State was one of those teams that did a great job and made a living this season on sacking the opposition.
Yeah, I think it was the inability for them to sack the Grambling State quarterback which really led to troubles. That gave them the ability to have the passing game lanes that they wanted. They didn't anticipate that. Jackson State offensively, though, they turned over the football. If you're going to make your money on having a really good defense, you've got to protect the football and play ball control.
And you were talking about turnover. The first 2 turnovers in the ball game, and the only turnovers in the ball game belong to Jackson State. The first one was a fumble.
Talking about the turnovers here, you'll see them there. First drive of the game, they want to move the football, trying to get that extra yard. They got it to midfield. Next thing you know, they fumble the football. Grambling does what a good offense does. They make you pay by putting points on the board. And then later on, they're trying to get the passing game. They finally get close to Grambling territory. Interception there. With that interception, that really eliminated any hope of the Jackson State Tigers putting points on the board in the first half.
And when you look at the first half statistics, rushing yards, Jackson State with just 37, Grambling with 100 yards rushing, 137 yards passing. So the edge goes there, 237 total yards to 127 total yards for Jackson State. That's the difference in first downs. Grambling has the edge there. Third down conversion, 6 of 9 for Grambling, 4 of 7 for Jackson State, and of course with the 2 turnovers.
And one thing you've got to notice is the fact that Grambling came in here giving up only on the defensive side of football. They don't allow teams to rush for 86 yards a game. They're still doing that. They're on pace to do that. Jackson State got hit with some big runs.
And Rick Comegys, what do you think he's telling his team at halftime as you look at the pressure on the quarterback in the first half?
And, you know, pressure busts a pipe. It also makes a good quarterback look very bad. Trey Rutland, pressure here all around. Anytime you get a left-handed quarterback, forced to roll to his right, not a natural position. So give credit to this Grambling State defensive front. They came in, they didn't get the publicity or the hype that the Jackson State D-line got, but they found ways to get to the quarterback.
And Grambling will get the ball to start the second half. And trying to come back up the field is Desmond Leonard for Grambling State University. The junior out of Monroe, Louisiana, 11-yard return.
We talked about what do you think Coach Comegys made some halftime adjustments. I can guarantee he told the defense, they get the ball first. Let's go out there and play like we're one of the best defenses in the SWAC. A 3-and-out, try and jumpstart this offense. I really do believe that great coaches are the ones that make great halftime adjustments, and we've got 2 great coaches in this football game.
The only time Grambling punted today was a 3-and-out situation for them. They have this one complete on the near sideline, and it's Dunn, Terrence Dunn, the senior, brought down by Marcus Jamison defensively.
What you're going to do is try to extend the field. You know that Grambling likes to run the football, so what do? They come out and they throw the football. The game of chess between the offensive and defensive coordinators is a beautiful thing to watch.
6-yard gain. They've used 2 running backs, that is Grambling today, Warren and Walker. Warren is in there, but Dillon wants to go to the air, has a little running room in front of him, drops the football, has to retreat, and still manages to get maybe some positive yards, a yard or 2 after all of that is said and done.
Dillon did a good job of recognition. Everybody was covered. So you see Dillon, look at his eyes. He's right downfield. Okay, I'm going to run. Well, Marcellus Speaks, what are you doing there? Fumble. Okay. Oh, Speaks, you're still there?
Yeah. Marcellus will make you fumble, won't he?
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that's a testament to Speaks. Why he's the defensive player of the year? Because they can say he's always in the right place. Teams try to trick him. They try to fool him with his different runs, but his football IQ is such, and he's got such a sense of being on the football field, he's never in a bad position.
Walker is in there right now. Greg Dillon, you were concerned whether he would be back, but he is in there, and he's pitching the football to Dunn. And let's see if let's see what the officials say. I'm not getting. Yes, it is a turnover by Grambling, so maybe a break for Jackson State. Terrence Dunn on the reception, and coming up with it, I believe, was Marcel Young. Boy,
Marcel Speaks. He's a guy that's always going to be there. But what a great job by Marcel Young, beating this guy one-on-one on the outside, creating the turnover early to give his team early momentum. We're going to have an interesting contest here in the second half when we come back.
Thanks for picking me up. This is so cool. I remember Game 6 of the finals. You just took over the game, and everybody's like, wow. But I wasn't surprised at all, because you're the truth. Truth always comes through. I actually write lots of fan fiction about you. You're not really you, though. You're like a you that you're made out of crystal.
Jeans.
13-0 our score. Jackson getting a big break, recovering a fumble by Grambling State. Grambling came in leading the nation in giveaway takeaway department. They were plus 21 in the turnover margin. First down and 10. Here's Trey Rutland kicking the ball, and he's inside the 25, down to the 23-yard line. Let's look at that fumble on that last play by Grambling.
Coach Broadway for Grambling didn't think it was a fumble. Let's take a look. You'll see here at the end, he gets spun around, knees not down, ball is out. The officials got that one right. That was clearly a fumble, and understand you being upset about that one, Coach Broadway, but every now and then you got to be able to look and say, hey, I just had to give it to you. That's what head coaches do. Of course, get on the cases of officials.
Of course, the football championship subdivision doesn't have instant replay, so there's no challenge there. Here's Rutland again on the keeper, and he has the first down to the 20-yard line. So now he's trying to do something using his legs as Cliff Exema was there to make the stop defensively.
Rutland starts to become the running game a little bit. So often when teams are really good at stopping the run, that's because teams have great running backs. And Jackson State has two fantastic freshmen, but defenses don't account for quarterbacks in the running game unless it's an option-type team. So good job by Rutland of calling his own number. Correct you a little bit there, partner. FCS football doesn't have replays except for this time of year. In the semifinals for the championship and the championship
game. Regular, yeah, only in the playoffs.
I got you once, Charlie. All season long, I finally got you once. Give me credit for it.
This time it's Edwards, and Edwards is down at the 16-yard line by Exema once again. When you look at the all-conference team selection that was brought out earlier this week, Grambling placed 9 players on the all-conference team, Jackson State 8.
So we see the best, the cream of the crop. You know, we're talking about some fantastic football players, and with that being the case, Marcellus Speaks was the defensive player of the year. Offensive player of the year in the SWAC conference was?
I'm sorry.
Offensive player of the year in the SWAC conference was?
It was a
Ryan Lee,
quarterback from Southern.
Don't say Southern too loud around here, Charlie.
Rutland in trouble right now. Rutland has trouble, and it's Exema. He's been all over the field the last couple plays. The freshman redshirt out of North Miami Beach, Florida.
Anytime you see people making tackles in the backfield, you got linebackers coming unblocked, missed assignments, and not only was Rutland there, but you also had Keith Hall there as well. Wide open gap there, missed assignment on the offensive line.
One of the things that we knew early on in the year and Coach Comedies was concerned about was the offensive line. That was, if anything, the weakness of the team early on in the season, but they started to come on toward the end of the year.
It just takes a while. And one of the things we talked about with Jackson State is their philosophy. They're always infusing new talent with existing talent. That takes a little bit longer to develop.
Empty backfield, Rutland going to the air, has a man wide open, and it's incomplete. He had a man wide open down at about the 5-yard line. That was a tight end, Marcel Frost. As we said, they were going to try to get him more involved in the passing game today. He has 2 rings on his finger, one from Ohio State and a championship ring here from Jackson State a year ago. He's looking for number 3.
Yeah, he was there. Jeffrey Jack did a good job of getting over there from that rover position, following the quarterback's eyes, got a hand on that ball to tip that pass just enough where Frost couldn't make the catch.
37-yard field goal attempt now for Eric Perry for
offense. Illegal substitution, 12 people on offense, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 4th down.
Frost went off late, so that's going to move it back to a 42-yard field goal attempt for Eric Perry. His longest this year was 49 yards. That came against Mississippi Valley. He had 2 blocked this year. Southern blocked 1, Alcorn blocked 1. And before the block by Alcorn, he had hit 9 straight field goals. Let's see if he can convert this one from 42 yards out. This one will not get it. Or it did. I didn't think it was high enough. Somehow it got through. 42 yards for Eric Perry. So Jackson State finally gets on the board. Eric Perry, the number 2 kicker in the SWAC, just made it.
Years ago, an American obsession was born. The greatest game ever played. Tonight at 9 on ESPN.
Puerto Rico Winter Getaway. Save $200 at participating hotels. Visit gotopuertorico.com to learn how to book.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Miller High Life. Good honest beer at a tasty price.
Rosa Parks, part of the Civil Rights Museum. Of course, we know a lot of what that picture did in terms of changing the landscape of America. As you look at Eric Perry, who just hit a field goal, each team taking advantage of a mistake or a fumble by the opposition. Let's look at that near make.
Reminds me of an old Tim Hardaway jump shot. Ugly knuckleball rotation.
Just made it.
Just made it. That's what Tim Hardaway used to say, hey, but it goes in.
It goes in. That's all that matters. And it went through for 3. They take advantage of a fumble by Jackson State. By Grambling, I should say. Jackson State takes advantage. Grambling took advantage of a Jackson State fumble early on in the contest to put 6 points on the board. And Eric Perry will kick it off. Dropped. Here's Stuckman. And Stuckman has a little room up the sideline. There he goes.
He's gone.
He may go all the way. He's at the 20, the 10, 5, touchdown. 91 yards on the kickoff return. Stuckman.
Just like that. The defense gives up 3 points. Special teams comes and they take 6 points here. And I think the bobble helped them. By him bobbling the ball, it actually gave time for the wedge to set up. And once he got that kicker in his sights, one-on-one move, any good return man won't let the kicker bring him down. Put a shake, foot race to the end. It's a great block right there at the end to solidify the deal. Touchdown, GSU.
On for the point after. Lewis Leal. That's the first kickoff return that Jackson State has given up for a touchdown this year. And the first kickoff return Grambling has returned for a touchdown this year. Eddie should be proud now, huh?
Got that right. And Coach Comedy is not too happy right now. And look at the kicker. Kicker's coming. Oh, overcommit. You know, kicker's excuse, he doesn't have the proper footing to make a cut like that on this type of field turf here. But you can always say the good returners don't allow the kickers to bring them down. Anybody else can bring them down, but it can't be the kicker. And see the special teams coach talking to him, but you can talk all you want when the lane is that wide open. That's a battle that the return man should win.
First career return for a touchdown for Mr. Stuckman. That's the first kickoff return for Grambling for a touchdown this year, and the first one allowed by Jackson State. Boy, what a turn of events.
Tremendous turn of events. Talking about Jackson State finally got on the board, cut it down to a 10-point ball game, and then you give up the touchdown there. Got to be very disappointing. With that being the case, if I still believe if Jackson State can find a way to get their offense in this football game, it's only going to pick up the defense.
Here you look at Mr. Stuckman there, David Stuckman, a sophomore, 5'7", out of Gainesville, Florida. And a little more elation on the face of their coach, Rod Broadway.
He's got to be feeling good about his chances right now. You've got one of the best defenses in the conference. You're holding on to a 17-point lead, so things are very looking good for the boys from Grambling, Louisiana.
And here's Carlos Everett trying to do the same thing on the opposite side, and he almost lost the football. He's back to the 20, and that's it. 4-yard return for the return man, Carlos Everett. Monday Night Football continues in the city of brotherly love. In Philadelphia's Jamal Lewis, Braylon Edwards and the Browns take on Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook and the Eagles. The Browns looking to go 3-0 on Monday night and upset the Eagles. Can it happen? We'll find out. A kickoff, 8:30 Eastern, right here Monday night on ESPN.
The Eagles are one of those teams that don't let them get in the playoffs. They're starting to play some good football at the right time of the season. Dallas seems to have some issues going on, so Philadelphia gets that extra spot coming out the NFC East. Now can get it done in the postseason.
In trouble is the quarterback, Trey Rutland. He is sacked by Otis Young, number 94, out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, transferred from New Hampshire, and comes up with the sack.
Otis Young, number 94, coming from the defensive tackle position. Look at that. Nobody touches him. Miscommunication between the center and the right guard. Rod Scott Somebody's got to touch the defensive tackle. You can't let the interior lineman go untouched.
We're in Birmingham, Alabama for the SWAC Championship. Jackson State in the white jerseys trailing right now by a score of 20-3 along with Jay Walker. I'm Charlie Neal. Glad you could be joining us here for this one. And this one nowhere to run for Gallela. And it was Melvin Matthews, first team all-conference selection out of Clinton, Mississippi, who came up with this stop that time, the kinesiology major.
Where's the offensive line for Jackson State right now?
All of a sudden, they've gone into hiding.
I mean, coaches know their team. When you talk about Comegy, we talked to Comegy. He glowed about his team. It was all really good. One area of concern he had was the offensive line play.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's...
Well, we talked about it a little while ago, how it was a concern early in the season, and they started to come on, especially when they were 1-4, but, you know, they're playing a little better. Here they are going for it on third down and about 20. And here's a long pass, and it's going to be intercepted. Picked off. Coming back down the field with it is T.J. McCord. McCord is stopped at the 3. They'll mark it at the 2. Trey Rutland finally making the stop after throwing the interception, and that is the third turnover today for Jackson State. 26 yards on the return for T.J. McCord, and it's his 5th interception of the season.
Wow, Trey Rutland made a poor decision on the interception, but what a great tackle at the end. He's going to get hit. Take a look at this. Look at the blocking. The blocking woes continue. Getting beat like that. Quarterback has to throw the ball a little bit sooner than he would like. Picked off, but look at the end of this run. Rutland got hit, still got up, and made a great tackle to stop him on the goal line to prevent him from getting to the end zone. And Coach Broadway likes it. Defense is starting to pour it on.
Now they had too many men on the field, I believe Grambling did. So we're going to have illegal substitution. They're going to move the ball back to about the 8-yard line.
5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
But the best field position for Grambling today, they'll start it at the 8-yard line.
That's a big penalty.
I
mean, that's a big one. You know, you were knocking on the door with the ability just to run the ball in there. Now, if you're giving Jackson State hope. If they can have hope to say, hey, if we can just limit these guys to 3 points, it's still a 3-touchdown ball game. So that's a huge penalty there for Grambling. See if they have the ability to overcome their mishap.
Warren. Here's Dillon on the option. He's being chased. Turns the corner and is run out of bounds on the far sideline. Not much running room. Jeremy Pierce was one of the men there to hit him. Immediately number 12.
Pierce got him on the outside. Marcella Speaks once again. Man in the right place, right time. Stretched that run all the way to the outside.
Maybe a half a yard. It'll be 2nd down and goal for Grambling. They lead it 20-3. Warren again, the setback in the backfield. Now Dillon wants to pass. Throws into the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Great catch by Keir Thompson, his 2nd touchdown reception for the day.
Great catch. Prettier throw.
Dillon with 3 touchdown passes today.
When you're going to throw this corner route, all you future quarterbacks out there, this is how you throw it. Plenty of air underneath the ball. Allow your wide receiver to run and adjust to the ball. With the angle of the throw, defensive back was in no man's land.
Grambling player says redemption, not revenge, but it looks like more of a revenge right now as they lead it 26-3, make it 27-3. 8:24 remaining. And we have the big INT. First of all, T.J. McCord. He brings it all the way back to the 3. And then Greg Dillon with his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. 2 going to Keir Thompson.
The Southwestern Athletic Conference is dedicated to offering challenging educational opportunities to talented students and future leaders from all across.
27-3 our score. There's Chris Kemlin, one of our cameramen here, and he says, oh, I'm hurting. I'll tell you why in a minute. First of all, let's look at the touchdown pass. Dillon to Keir Thompson.
Beautiful strike. Tight spiral.
And look who's there to capture the action. There's Chris Kimlin, our tech camera, and he kept right on filming.
Yeah, well, this is why we were able to see that tight rotation on the spot. Oh, look at that there. Ooh, he goes down, but hold the camera, hold the camera.
He's holding the camera.
Still filming.
He's still filming.
He's still filming.
He's
look
a big fella. He can take it, though.
He can take it. Hey, Chris, you got more pads than the guys on the field right now, buddy. But way to tough it out. Good job. And that's a highlight film. The most thankful person would be Greg Dillon. Because, you know, when you capture that throw with the ball rotating like that, pretty, and it comes down the hands, reminds me of that Jim Plunkett Super Bowl throw to Cliff Branch where the spiral was perfect. Dillon threw a perfect spiral, and thanks to the hard work and effort of our MVP, the camera crew, Chris, highlight reel forever.
It'll be Mouton at the 15. He has a little running room down the sideline. And he tripped up and he fumbled the ball. Does Grambling have it? Let's see. No, the officials are saying he's down at the 36-yard line.
They're giving him that one. They're giving him that one. I thought it was that ball came out of there pretty early on that return as he started going down to the ground. But
so Jackson State trying to avoid their 4th turnover of the game. Rick Comegys' team is
so that ball's
struggling.
out before he goes down. It's out. He got away with one there. He's coming. That ball gets swatted. It's out.
Yeah, it's out before his knee touches down. So they got lucky, as you said, Jay, and they'll get the ball 1st down and 10 at their own 36-yard line. Now there's a marker down. Who is this on? Are they waving it off?
There is no foul. There's no foul on the play.
So Jackson State down by 24 points right now. 1st down and 10. 3 turnovers in the ball game for Jackson State today. Rutland falls down, loses yards. It'll be a 3-yard loss. He just couldn't get his footing, and he loses a couple.
Yeah, they just can't get anything going. And anytime you're a running team, nothing there, they know you're going to pass the ball. And on this field turf here, which can be slick at times, still important to make sure you cut off the right leg. Rutland didn't do it there. And
well, you know, this Jackson State team, after starting 1-4, one of the things they talked about was they had to find themselves, and they did a pretty good job in winning 6 straight ball games. As Michael Mosley is in there at quarterback right now, and he throws it incomplete, trying to get it to Marcel Frost, the tight end out of Cleveland, Ohio, the transfer from Ohio State. There's Mosley. He's out of New Orleans, Louisiana, started his college career at Louisiana Tech, and then transferred here to Jackson State, and he's going to see if he can generate some offense for the Tigers.
Now, Louisiana Tech's in what part of Louisiana?
Monroe, right down the street from Grambling.
Would have been a shorter commute just to go to Grambling.
3rd down, 12.
Got him.
Wide open, and it's caught. And it's Everett, and he'll go for the touchdown. 66 yards, Carlos Everett on the reception, his 2nd longest reception of the year. The earliest one, he had a 72-yarder against Alabama State.
The key to that play was great protection by the offensive line, where Mosley did not have to rush the throw with his initial read, was able to go to a secondary read, which was to a streaking Everett downfield. Look at Mosley. He's here. He wants to throw. I got time. Oh, pump fake, then go to the deep receiver downfield. Had he not had time, he would have had to get rid of the ball earlier. Instead, got a little bit extra time, that extra half a second, turned into a touchdown and get the monkey off your back with your James Woody. You finally scored on this Tiger defense.
What is so interesting about that, when you see a play like that, normally either it's overthrown, underthrown, or the receiver wide open drops it.
Yes.
And, you know, I was waiting for one of those bad things to happen, and they got fortunate, and Everett pulled it in and goes in untouched, as they say, by human hands.
It took 97 minutes and 35 seconds, but Everett has broken the streak for Jackson State to score on this defense. Now the key is, what can they get to go along with it? Once you do that now, as a football team, all you need is hope. I mean, hope is what you need in life almost, and you eliminate hope, then you eliminate your chance of winning. With that, they got a new quarterback in there, a little spark. Maybe the defense can come up with a play. Get back in this game, because at the end of the day, plenty of football still to be played.
Well, you know, both of them shared time against the Alcorn in the Alcorn game in the Capital City Classic. Mosley came in and actually played the second half. And I've talked about the tendonitis in the shoulder of Trey Rutland. So we'll see what happens. They're going to go for 2.
Now, normally a team will bring you in tight in order to spread you out and attack throwing the ball.
Olela has it, and he bounces into one of his own blockers up front. And that was number 44 that came up and he ran into. That was Joshua Tiller, the backup tight end. Christian Anthony wouldn't allow him to get around the corner. So they failed on the 2-point conversion, but they put points on the board in terms of a touchdown, and it's a 27-9 ball game. So still a lot of time left. We're still in the third quarter with 7 minutes to go, over 7 minutes to go, plus we have another 15 minutes in the fourth quarter. So Jackson State could get something going.
And you can see the coaches over there telling them he's supposed to check that play off. I mean, you bring everybody in the box, and if they take the bait and they come in tight, then you check off and you attack the perimeter. You just don't run it straight ahead up the middle when 10 guys by the line of scrimmage.
Don't forget tonight, football night on ESPN, first at 8 Eastern. A college football player will transcend greatness and become a legend. Then at 9 Eastern, catch the greatest game ever played, presented by Sprint. A Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan, and the greatest game ever played presented by Sprint on ESPN Saturday. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Highest SWAC Heisman finalist. Believe it or not, a lot of people didn't believe that somebody from the SWAC would be in the running for the Heisman. Steve McNair in '94 finished 3rd in the voting. Walter Payton in 4th. He had Doug Williams and Jerry Rice.
And what's nice about that graphic, those guys went on and validated it in their professional careers.
He certainly did. Grambling on the return. And here we go again. Don't tell me he's going to do it once again. This is Baptiste on the return. Baptiste is freshman out of Lafayette, Louisiana, on the return this time.
Look at the wedge again. They've got a hole. Once you run hard, hit the crease, and he's got one-on-one with the kicker, and this time Perry
he made sure.
Tackle.
He said, "You're not running 196 yards on me this time." He said, "You got me the last time. Somebody got me, but I'm gonna stick my nose in there this time."
But it's not good special teams play when you're relying on your kicker to make the tackle.
32 yards on the kickoff return by Baptiste. Good field position, though, as Dillon on the option keeps it back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. Grambling from their own 45-yard line. Marcellus Speaks there to make the stop. You know, one of the stories you're going to talk about is their center. That is Grambling State center, Reve Smith. He moved to the center spot in the spring to replace all SWAC performer from a year ago, Tavares Cockrell. Made all-team, first-team all-conference this year. But the key is he's going to graduate with a degree in criminal justice this coming Friday, next Friday. And Coach, you know, Broadway keeps saying 1 more year because he has another year of eligibility. He's trying to get him to come back for 1 more year, 1 more year. And we'll see. He's debating whether he's going to come back or not. This one is caught on the far sideline and gained for a first down. Nick Lewis, he's had a pretty good ball game today.
He stepped up and made some big plays, and that's what you want from your seniors, to step up, make big plays when you need it. This is a very young Grambling team, and that's the case on the offensive line. Why is Coach Broadway really begging for Reve Smith to come back? Because he could be the senior leadership that they need.
Well, he is the leader right now. In fact, he did an internship this past summer with the Louisiana Department of Justice in the Criminal Investigation Division, and pretty heady young man. Good, nice to talk to. First down and 10 now for Grambling after the reception by Nick Lewis. Going up top, down there, and it's intercepted. Picked off. And coming up with the INT is Dominique Johnson, first team all-conference and the last year's defensive player of the game in this SWAC championship game. Dominique Johnson.
Dominique Johnson, one of the guys that has many of the scouts out here to see him play. Great frame, 6'2", 190 pounds, transfer from Missouri. And what do? You teach defensive backs, go up and get the ball at the highest point. Leap, go get it. Good interception there. what happens? You get a little pressure on the quarterback. You make them rush their throws. They tend to lose their accuracy.
Dominique Johnson over there with Malcolm Palmer. Between the two of them, somebody was going to come up with an interception. Dominique's 5th interception of the season. Malcolm Palmer came into the game with 1. So Grambling has turned the ball over twice. The last time they turned the ball over resulted in a field goal for Jackson State. Let's see if Jackson State can convert once again. They get the ball deep, though, in their own territory. So this could be almost like a punt if you don't get it on 4th down, because they got them very deep.
Yes, you got a very tall task if you're talking about going 98 yards against one of the better defenses in the conference.
Michael Mosley, the junior out of New Orleans, is in at quarterback for Jackson State right now. And he hands it off to Balela. Balela gives him a little breathing room out to the 5-yard line. A gain of about 3 before Otis Young made the stop.
Good thing for Jackson State. You know, it seems like a tall order. You got to go 98 yards, but you've got the backup quarterback in there right now that has shown some confidence and some fearlessness, which is what you need. You need quarterback confidence at this point in the football game. And if they're going to drive the length of the field, what a way for Michael Mosley to continue his hot hand.
You know, all the running backs at Jackson State kind of resemble each other. 5'8", 5'9". You know, Smith is 5'9", Luther Edwards 5'8". They're all like Smurfs.
They got maximum height requirements, huh?
Apparently. And now they try to go around the right side this time with, once again, Balela on the carry. But Desmond Leonard doesn't let him turn the corner, but it's going to be a 3rd down and a manageable 3. Let's see what kind of offense they come up with this time. What kind of play would you run here, Jay?
I like the word you said, manageable, meaning if that's the case, you can kind of call the whole playbook. You can call your screen, you can call your run, you can call your pass, your scramble, your rollout. It's manageable. And this type here, who's your hot hand running the football? Hey, you've got the freshmen. They all look alike, so give it to one of them, but you got to have the confidence in your offensive line. Find out who's your best running offensive lineman and go behind them.
Normally it's the left tackle, right?
In most offenses.
And now we got a penalty flag. Is it offsides or not?
Snap. Ball start. Snap.
He wasn't sure. He wasn't sure whether he was going to call offsides or false start.
See if we can take a look at where it occurred from. Wow. I saw black jerseys moving.
I'm still trying to see where it occurred also. But anyway.
Wow, that's tough. That's an unfortunate call there, because you go from 3rd and 2, as we mentioned earlier, 3rd and 7. Let's see if we see the center do something. Does he
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll give it to you. Come on, Rod Scott. You got to get it together here, fella.
I think the center forgot the snap count.
Zipped it down the middle for incomplete. They're going to call it incomplete. Well, I'll tell you, he zipped it, though, didn't he? Tillman was the intended receiver, but I'll tell you, he put some mustard on that one.
Yeah, Moses got a live arm. Very accurate throw. This is a catchable ball here. You see him just zing this ball out here. Goes down to get it. Oh, if Tillman was able to cradle that ball in there, that would have been a huge 3rd down conversion.
Brett Bennett to punt it away. Only his 2nd punt of the day. Make it his 3rd. Here's Keir Thompson with the fair catch, and great field position for Grambling after a 39-yard punt. But there's a penalty marker down. And the false start is against Jackson State. Do you refuse the penalty or just take the ball where you have it, right at the 44-yard line? Good field position.
If you refuse it, that means you're going to, or if you take the penalty, that means you're going to go after the punt block. So I'd make him kick it again, because the punter was already standing in the back of his end zone. Not much room to go on, so maybe you go for the punt block with pressure and get a high snap or something.
Had an illegal formation, 5 yards, 5 people in the backfield. Will take 5 yards from the end of the kick, 1st down, Grambling.
So they're not going to make him kick it again. They're going to take it from the end of the kick and move the ball down to the 39-yard line. So that's where Grambling will take over. 1st down and 10. They lead it 27-9 here in the 3rd quarter. First down and 10, Grambling. They lead it 27-9 with 3:45 left here in the third quarter. They have not lost a game since September 13th, going for their 10th straight. Here's Dillon, throws it away as he gets to the outside. And now there's yelling that maybe there should have been a little penalty flag on Jackson State for extracurricular activity on the sideline. Let's look at the end of that play once again. As Dillon goes out of bounds, and he's bumped there by Malcolm Palmer.
That's football. You know, I believe in protecting the quarterback. When you roll outside the pocket, you're gonna get touched. He didn't lower the helmet on him. One thing that impressed me on that play, won't show up this incomplete pass, but that was a screen pass designed to be thrown behind the line of scrimmage. No illegal lineman call for going downfield. Sign of a well-coached offensive unit.
Dillon 12 of 17 in the passing department, and now we get a flag. Penalty flags are starting to fly now.
Ball start, 6-6 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, and he plays first down.
I thought George McCullum had enough face time.
Hey, they always do that when you come to town, Charlie. You gotta wonder.
So I think Coach is upset with the band. I think that's what it is. He's saying that the band is, you know, in certain conferences, I know they don't like the band playing when the other team has the ball. And that's what was happening. Jackson State was playing while Grambling had the ball, and Coach Rod Broadway brought it to George McCullum's attention, and he went over and said, okay, band, you got to keep quiet now.
And rightfully so, too. That's what the coach is there to do.
And rightfully so, the defense of Marcus Jamison made sure that Greg Dillon did not get very far on that one. He was in the backfield. Marcus Jamison out of Brookville, Mississippi, homegrown. Missed part of the 06 season because of an ankle injury.
Yeah, you'll see here, they're going to call the quarterback draw, nowhere to run. Jamison comes from the outside, brings down the quarterback, and tells you what a good runner Dillon is. I mean, he didn't go down easy without a fight. Good open field tackle by Marcus Jamison.
So it'll bring up a third down situation. Third and about 19. Dillon again in trouble, cuts it back inside, finally brought down by number 55 there that's Anthony Atkins for Jackson State, the junior out of Plainfield, New Jersey.
Good job by the rush ends on this Jackson State defense. Sam Washington and Marcus Bernard flushing Dillon out of the pocket. They had a spy linebacker there waiting on him. Marcella Speaks, although Dillon made a miss, still not able to pick up enough yardage to get the first down.
And that'll bring on the punting unit. That'll bring on Desmond Spivey. A lot of hang time in his punts. And there's a turnover. And it's going to be Grambling's ball. King Beckwith was the man who recovered it. Mouton just could not get the handle for Jackson State, so that is their fourth turnover of the game. That's a muff. They don't call that a fumble because he never had possession.
Yeah, it's a fair catch. All you have to do is catch the football, and lets that ball get a little bit too close to his body, bounces right off, and one of those days for the boys from Jackson, Mississippi.
This comes with 2:09 left in the third quarter. So let's see if Grambling can convert. Trying to turn the corner and running on the near side is Walker. Speaks was there defensively.
Running that option, and what a disadvantage. I don't care how good your defense is. You continue to give the opposing team the ball in your own territory. Sooner or later, they're going to lose hope. And we talked about earlier how important hope is. And a lot of finger points start taking place between the offense and the defense.
13 points off turnovers for Grambling today. And here's Walker on the carry. He's not going to get very, very far, as Dennis Coit was there, the first man in the white jersey to make contact, number 92.
And Coit's one of those guys that he gets his man. You know, Grambling's not had much success running the football at the teeth of the Jackson State defense, and Dennis Coit's a guy that 6'1", 320 pounds. He's a load, hard to move, very active. Likes hitting running backs. That's a good trait to have if you're a defensive lineman.
3rd down and 8 now. Dillon rolling right. Wide open. Walker at the 1. Oh, that Donnell. That's Donnell. Larry Donnell, the tight end, coming out. The junior out of Ozark, Alabama. His 18th catch of the year. First today, good for 15, 1st and goal.
Yeah, we used to call this little old fun pass. Act like you're going down like you slipped. And we talked about Marcellus Speaks never being in the wrong position. Well, that case, his man was the one that caught this ball that could have been a touchdown grab.
That was very close, but he did come down before he crossed the goal line. So it'll be 1st down and goal for the Grambling Tigers, threatening to add to their lead right now. Who gets it? The quarterback keeps it.
He fumbled.
Fumbled the ball. They call a touchdown. Well, all the ball has to do is break the plane. If he has it in his possession, when it breaks the plane, whatever happens afterward is inconsequential.
I agree, but if you're going to stick that ball out there and somebody swats it away and you're airborne, I mean, that's a bang-bang play there. Too close to call, and I mean, very quick whistle. But if it broke the plane, it broke the plane. Let's take a look here.
That's all that matters, is it breaks the plane.
He's got a distance to go. He's got a,
it's there. It's over the plane. See, it comes loose after he's over the plane.
I don't know.
No, you look at it.
Mean, yeah, he's 2 yards deep. He's stretching already.
Now the ball doesn't come out until he's over the plane.
When was it hit? See, the ball was caught in the end zone. That's close.
No, it wasn't that close, Jack.
I think it was very close.
I'm glad you're not a replay official.
Very much so. You're right.
The point after is good. It's 34-9. After the 1-yard run by the quarterback Dillon, with 29 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter.
See, here he's already 2 yards deep. You see his heels on the 2. Takes a step back.
Now the ball is over now.
It's not there yet.
Yes, it is.
No, it's right on it. He's right on it.
But see, you're looking at the wrong angle.
I'm looking at the same angle you're looking at, Charles.
But I'm saying you're seeing it from this way.
I agree. I mean, it's definitely there. You said it was a no-brainer.
If you look at it from the end zone camera shot, the ball crosses the plane, and then it's knocked out of his hands.
That's a tough one because there wasn't a big surge by the offensive line.
I didn't think it was that hard of a call.
There was no surge by the offensive line. But take a look. No surge here. There,
see the ball?
Where is he?
That's where it comes up. But the ball, see, I don't know. The ball is across the goal line.
Possibly. I mean, I see your point there.
See, when he crosses it, when he loses it, it's over the goal line. So that's all that matters. And that's what the officials have to go on. But 20 points off of 4 turnovers, but 3 of them they've converted into points. That is Grambling from Jackson State. The muff, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Everett, and he falls down at about the 27, 28-yard line. (10-0) when leading after 3 quarters. You know, their big quarters have been, in terms of scoring, the 4th quarter and the 2nd quarter for Grambling this year, because they've all been traditionally getting off to slow starts.
One thing that really impressed me about Grambling on the season, you're talking 12 games, they've given up only 42 points in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
That's a stingy defense.
Yeah,
that's a championship time, and that's how they win championships.
Last 6 games, they've given up no points after the 1st quarter coming into this game. Mosley, too high, overthrown. Marcel Frost, again, the intended receiver, the tight end.
Well, one thing we got to give credit to a defense. You know that Broadway's the head coach, and he's a defensive type of guy. They've got a fantastic defensive coordinator. Cliff Yoshida has been coaching for years in his own right. He's done a fantastic job with this defense there. On the other side, you see Rick Kamaji. Still, through all said and done, we talked to him yesterday. I mean, to think at where the Jackson State program was when he took over, to have won a championship in his 2nd year, and then in the 3rd year be competing for another one. Fantastic job. Don't let today's performance hamper anything that he's accomplished at Jackson State.
Mosley swings it out, incomplete on the near side, trying to
get it to Edwards coming out of the backfield. You know, they've had some great coaches at Jackson State over the years. In fact, they had this whole weekend, there was a lot of the older coaches, W.C. Gordon, Hall of Fame ceremonies. They had the SWAC alumni dinner last night. Bob Hill was a great coach here at Jackson State, 3 SWAC titles. W.C. Gordon, who I got a chance to see last night, he had SWAC titles here. James Carson, Bob Hughes, who I got a chance to see today, he took them to the first ever championship game against Southern University. So they've had some great coaches over the years, and now Rick Carmichael's trying to add his name to that list of great coaches here. This one's going to be incomplete, and he's intending that one for Carlos Simpson. 34-9 is our score. In case you just joined us, Greg Dillon has thrown 3 touchdown passes today and run for 1. I think he's probably making a strong bid to be the MVP of this ball game.
And if you just look at Dillon, from how he started the season to how he ended the season, I mean, that's just a remarkable body of work that he's put together to go from being the offensive liability to one of the strongholds on the offensive side of the ball.
The punt by Bennett. Keir Thompson has to fall on it. He has problems finding the handle after a 45-yard punt. And that's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter here in Birmingham. We'll be back.
The Browns.
Grambling 15 minutes away from collecting their 5th SWAC championship game trophy. The last time they won it was 2005. They beat Alabama A&M 45-6. Bruce Eugene was the quarterback of record in that game, in which he threw 6 touchdown passes as Cornelius Walker on the carry that time for Grambling. They scored 27 points in the 3rd quarter, Grambling, in that 45-6 win. And Bruce Eugene, 30 of 47, 473 yards, 6 touchdowns.
That's it.
And no interceptions.
He only threw 6 touchdowns?
That's all.
That was a bad day at the office for Bruce Eugene. I mean, that offense he had was, when he threw like 50 touchdowns on the season, he was putting up phenomenal numbers. He's probably been, in the past 10 years, the most dominating player in the SWAC conference. I mean, from the moment he stepped foot on campus and played, he was a force to be reckoned with.
Now Grambling going to try to run out the clock with the running game as Walker gets the carry once again. Malcolm Palmer there defensively, no gain on the play. Grambling in the championship game, they have 4-1. Their only loss was a year ago, and there it is. 2000 they beat Alabama A&M. 01 they beat Alabama State. 02 Alabama A&M, and again in 05 they lost to Jackson State a year ago, and they're looking to make it number 5 in the win column in this championship game, in this 10th edition of the SWAC championship game.
I think because of that success is why we saw the fan in the stands holding a sign that said Gramblingham, not Birmingham, but called it Gramblingham.
We own Birmingham, huh?
They thought they owned.
We have a flag down. There's a pass play. This should be intercepted. Now let's see, was there offsides or was there movement on the offense? It's Jeremy Pierce coming up with the INT on Dillon, but let's see what the penalty marker is about.
Check. Check. Check.
It is going to be offsides against Jackson State, who can't catch a break today, can they, Jay? Talking about Graham, go ahead.
No, it just seems to be that way when, when it rains, it pours. And, they had the one big play offensively that Mosley did for them. But other than that, I mean, the defense kind of got pushed around at times. And the offense just never could get it going. Special teams let them down. And, you come up with an interception, and what happens? You guys were offsides, and that's why Dillon threw the ball. He knew he had a free play and went for the big play downfield, a la John Elway.
And it's first down for Grambling. Ball outside the 40 at about the 41-yard line. Make it the 42. Walker on the carry, close to midfield before Speaks makes the stop defensively. And you're talking about these teams in the SWAC championship game. Grambling has more wins than any team in the SWAC and has more appearances. This is their 6th appearance in the SWAC championship game. Jackson State, this is their 3rd appearance. They're 1-1. Southern University has made 3 appearances. They're 2-1. Alabama A&M has been here 4 times, and they're 1-3. Alabama State has been here 3 times. They're 1-2. Pine Bluff, they're 0-1 in their only appearance. Never coming here was Alcorn, Mississippi Valley, Prairie View, or Texas Southern. And Prairie View had their best chance of getting here this year, except that Southern didn't cooperate with them in the Bayou Classic. And to explain that a little further, going into the Bayou Classic, there was a possible 3-way tie. There was actually a possible 3-way tie in the Western Division of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And if had Southern beaten Grambling in the Bayou Classic, what would have happened? They would have had a coin flip to determine which team actually represented the Western Division in this game.
But Grambling took care of their business on the field.
That's all that mattered.
The point was moot. But let's make this. What happens in that Bayou Classic if Brian Lee doesn't get hurt in the first half? I mean, he put 14 points on Grambling quick.
Yeah, it's always what if. but Grambling didn't want to hear that. We won. That's all that mattered, whether he got hurt or not.
Yeah, they want it going away. Give them credit. You know, I think Grambling has shown by far they're the best team in the SWAC conference. If this stands, I mean, they earned it from start to finish. You go undefeated during conference play. You beat everybody on your conference schedule. You come to the championship game and you put on a pretty good performance, beating a team that gave you a close contest early in the season. And can't say enough about Grambling. And you talk about the SWAC championships that they won. You sounded surprised when you were reading off the Grambling won more. That's the school of Eddie Robinson. Eddie Robinson school, you expect the school of Eddie Robinson to compete for championships no matter which decade they're in, and that's that swagger that the G-men have.
Well, what is so ironic is every coach that has been at Grambling since Eddie Robinson left has won a SWAC championship should Rob Broadway prevail here today. Yeah, he'll be 3. That Doug Williams, Melvin Spears, and now Rob Broadway.
You know, they all did it their way. Eddie Robinson wanted doing the wing tee. Doug went there with a little bit more balance. Spears just wanted to gun and fun, or have fun and gun, whatever you call it, or he called it that tiger stretch offense. And now Broadway's doing it with, hey, we're going to hang our hat on the defense. And credit to all the football players down there in Louisiana having the ability to make Eddie proud.
Eddie should be proud now, and that I'm sure he is. He's smiling down on the Grambling Tigers and Rob Broadway and his crew. It's a 4th down situation. We've got a punting situation for Spivey. High snap, and he gets it down, and a flag is going to be thrown. They're going to rough the kicker.
Wow. See, that's a tough one. You know, I don't like to make a living out of second-guessing officials, but if you're going to have this new spread formation, if you bull rush that guy into the kicker, then how can that be roughing the kicker? I mean, that was just a hard rush up. They were trying to block it. Nobody came in and jumped into the kicker. They just did a bull rush on that second line of defense.
Well, they're saying he roughed the kicker. Let's look at it once again.
I just saw a hard rush.
But sometimes the blockers.
Look. Oh, he's taking on
Actually,
2 guys.
He looked like he may have he might have hit his own man. Watch this right here.
He's acting now too. Come on, Spivey, but he's acting. I mean, he
look at it. He's even laughing. He knows he's trying to get that Emmy, that award. We got to get him on the ESPYs.
Magic Johnson was the best at doing that. Magic Johnson go in the lane, get contact, act like he got poked in the eye, and then next play he was killing you. You know, that one didn't give him an automatic first down. Why couldn't you call it running into the kicker, if anything? Wow.
Warren on the carry, bounces it to the outside at the 40-yard line. He stopped for no gain. Don't forget, Sunday night, Matt Winter hosts Bowl Mania on ESPN. And we will rank all 34 bowl games in regards to how confident Jesse Palmer is in them winning their game. Bowl Mania presented by Assurant Health on ESPN on Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal here at Legion Field in Birmingham. Sun's coming out.
now. You know, I've caught a cold and been fighting it off. Now the sun shows up. But Charlie, for us, unfortunately, it's that time of year where we start to lose some friends in the industry. You know, some good men. Lee Fobbs lost his job at North Carolina A&T. Reports are.
And there's Marcellus, or I should say Warren on the carry, and the stop made there by Anthony Atkins since Marcellus speaks. But, you know, you're talking about reports, and we looked at Rod Broadway. You know, there's got to be some jobs that he is going to be eligible for, and it's just a matter of whether Grambling can hold on to him.
Yeah, you know, we'll talk about Broadway a lot, but the report is, and I don't know, who's the head football coach at Alcorn State? I've heard that they made a move.
I don't think
there
is
one.
One.
There's a coach out there recruiting right now actively for the school. So,
yeah, Alcorn, from what I understand, is looking for a head coach. Even though I don't think he's been told by the administration he's been fired, but
that's not a good sign.
Everybody else knows that he's been fired. And talking about Ernest Jones.
After a year, that would be a quick hook.
You're talking about 25 vacancies in college football between FCS and FBS this season. 12 of those have been filled already.
Yeah.
I mean, they filled the job at Bowling Green with Dave Clawson. And that's kind of an interesting situation because Dave Clawson was at Richmond a year ago. And then he takes the offensive coordinator's job at Tennessee. He gets there, and a year later, Fulmer and his whole staff is fired. But he gets the job at Bowling Green, and Richmond is in the semifinals of the FCS playoffs right now.
Yeah, they're taking on Northern Iowa, so that'll be a good contest. But still some pretty big names out there in terms of coaches where you can go coach, and some of them down here in the state of Alabama. North Road and Auburn. Who's their coach going to be?
8:35 remaining. We'll be back.
Ground control, we have a problem.
ESPN's College Football is brought to you by Vitamin Water. It works. Try it. And Phillips Norelco. Phillips, sense and simplicity.
The Jazz Hall of Fame here in Birmingham, Alabama. A lot of history here in Birmingham.
They need to put you in there.
Skyline here in Birmingham and Jackson State trailing in this ball game, and they have the ball trying to get something going with the running game right now. Remember, Trey Rutland started the ball game at quarterback. He's given way to Michael Mosley after they've had problems moving the ball offensively. They've only been able to put 9 points up on the scoreboard. As you look at Mike Mosley, a transfer from Louisiana Tech. He's from Landry High in New Orleans, Louisiana. They call him more of a shifty runner than Trey Rutland. And he came into today's ball game with 3 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and completing 32% of his passes. But the only touchdown that Jackson State has today was his 66-yard pass to Everett. And now we still have Everett on the move on this one. And they gain first down yardage as Jeffrey Jack makes the stop defensively.
Mosley seems to be more of an aggressive passer in terms of, you know, what I mean by aggressive. You got some quarterbacks that take what the defense gives them. Some of them have enough arm strength out there to take what they want from the defense. And that's what you call the aggressive passer. And Mosley's come out here and squeeze some throws in there that only Mosley can make, and possibly Rutland doesn't have the arm strength or the arm zip to get in there.
Here's Mosley back to pass again. Under a little pressure now, throws it away. Has a man out there, but he just can't get it into his hands. That's Marcellus Wilder, the freshman out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, whose brother, Deontay, won a bronze medal in Beijing, China in the Summer Olympics this year in boxing before losing to Italian Clemente Russo.
But that's the one guy on the team I'm not going to pick a fight with. Because, you know, the bloodlines don't go too far away. If one brother can fight, they all can fight. So I wouldn't mess with that. But that's also a good story. He's a freshman. You know, for years, everybody said, well, they just bring in all these transfers at Jackson State. Well, that's not the case. They're mixing it in there. They've got a plan where they had to bring in a quick fix. Now they got a 50-50 ratio in terms of transfers and four-year students. So they've got a good formula for success down there in Jackson, Mississippi.
They tried to screen to Gerard Smith, but Kristen Anthony just didn't buy it. he never moved. He never left home. He just stayed there and smelled it out.
Yeah, he would get my vote for the defensive MVP, Christian Anthony. I mean, all day long on that right side, coming from that right end position, he's just been beating this man off the ball. And, you know, nothing there. You got a screen? Nah, I got it. I'm here. From the outside. He comes in from the left, so they've been moving him from the left side to the right side, taking the matchups. And anytime you get a defensive lineman sniffing out screen, play's over.
There's a possible sack, and again, it is. And who comes up with it? Christian Anthony. He says, hey, it's just a day's work. I'm at the office. Whoop.
Good job.
Christian Anthony out of Birmingham, Alabama's Carver High, playing in front of the hometown fans right here. He looped from the opposite side this time. I mean, you don't know which way he's coming.
And as a former quarterback, when you see that play, what hurts is when he lands on you.
Yeah.
You know, you got 250 pounds landing on you between you and the ground. Ooh, that hurts.
A pair of sacks for him today as Jackson State punts it away, and Keir Thompson says, I'm just let this one go. And it'll die right at about the 11-yard line with 5:50 remaining here. We're in the fourth quarter in Birmingham.
You're drinking
First down and 10. Grambling with the ball. Not much running room there that time. No gain, in fact, for Walker. Atkins there on the stop defensively. Under 6 minutes to go here in this contest. Jackson State and Grambling, the 10th edition of the SWAC championship game. And there's talk somewhere down the road, Jay, that there could be a championship game between the champion of the SWAC and the champion of the Midwestern Athletic Conference, in addition to the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Postseason, that would be phenomenal. We'll take the MEAC Conference deciding to eliminate themselves from the postseason and the playoffs, the FCS. So some things have to happen. We got a lot of motivated coaches in the MEAC that like that. Some of them are saying, hey, let's do it. Me being a fan of black college football, obviously, you love to see the best two teams at the end of the year settle who's the best on the field besides a poll. And that would be interesting there. That'd be a good one. And talking about some of the postseason stuff, you know, interesting nugget. All 3 awards on the FCS level are named after folks that came to black colleges.
And from the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
And from the SWAC. So you got the Coach of the Year is the Eddie Robinson Award.
Walter Payton Award for the best offensive player of the year from Jackson State. And, of course, the defensive player of the year in the football championship subdivision, named after Buck Buchanan, who was the only player from the Southwestern Athletic Conference drafted #1, not just in the first round, but #1 player drafted.
Number 1-1.
Yeah.
First player,
first round.
Right. The first player. That tells you, you know, each one of those guys with the awards has ties to these 2 schools we're watching today. That's why we talked about the storied programs that Jackson State and Grambling have and the tremendous accomplishments. And, you know, you can never talk about Jackson State. You can never mention Walter Payton's name enough. I mean, you know, when we saw where he finished in the Heisman voting, keep in mind at that time, Jackson State was playing Division II football.
Yeah,
so
to be a Heisman candidate then. Mouton is back to receive the punt by Spivey, which it won't get there. And it takes a Jackson State bounce and dies at about the 37-yard line. Jackson State trailing here late in this contest, 34-9. Along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal here in Birmingham, Alabama. 3:28 left in this contest, the SWAC championship game. Frank Warren, you're looking at him on the sideline, 89 yards rushing for him today on 10 carries as his team has this game well in hand.
We're in Grambling, Alabama for today.
Grambling, Alabama. There's the last 3 meetings. They split. And looks like Grambling is going to go up in this one.
Picked off.
And this is an INT. Another one for Grambling State University.
What a return.
This is Kenneth Anio, and we talked about him at the beginning. He may go all the way. Anio, touchdown, Grambling State University, 80 yards on this return. Kenneth Anio out of Jackson, Mississippi, or Jackson, Louisiana, rather. The Jackson High in Jackson, Louisiana. And that's his 5th interception of the season. That's like putting the icing on the cake.
I think so, and I think that's making a statement. We think we're the best team in black college football. Hold on, buddy, Pew Bulldogs up there in South Carolina State. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to put it in the hands of the voters.
Well, they already ranked #1 right now in the Sheridan poll of black college football, and South Carolina State was 2, Tuskegee 3. And I think, like you said, Grambling just put the icing on the cake in more ways than one.
Dominating performance, but those Bulldogs look very good in the losing effort versus Appalachian State in the first round of playoffs. And take a look at this replay here. Ball just gets away from him. Poorly thrown ball, nowhere to go with it. I like a good job by Anio. Become a running back. Once you get that interception, put that ball in the right hand, and you become aggressive. You become the runner. Got a whole entourage of blockers taking him into the end zone. Nobody close. Touchdown by the G-men from Grambling. Coach Broadway got to be liking it.
Jackson State turned the ball over 5 times today. 27 points off of turnovers for Grambling. 27 of their 41 points.
Good teams make you pay. Great teams bury you as you turn over the football that many times. And Grambling is showing that they are a great team.
Make that an 85-yard interception return for the touchdown by Anio.
You know, we talked to Coach, what's going to be different in this year's SWAC championship compared to last year's SWAC championship? And he said, well, you know, he realized a couple things, Coach Broadway. He said maybe we let the Bayou Classic deflate us a little bit too more. He also said there were other distractions about whether or not he was going to still be the coach. And he said, he was honest enough to say that really did distract his football team and his coaching staff. And at the end of the day, no distractions. They came here to take care of business in a business-like manner. Oh, no. It's too cold, fellas. Oh, don't do.
What's that?
Don't do. It's too cold. Oh. Hey, Coach. Coach. I'm trying to get him, Coach. No. Look out. Look out.
I'm glad it's not Alvin Wyatt from
them boys need to be careful now. You know, Coach Broadway goes about 6'4", you know, upper 2s. Be careful.
Well, they wanted redemption from last year's loss to Jackson State in this championship game, and they got it in more ways than one.
I'm telling you. See, this is when you need assistant coaches to take the bucket for you.
They got it. Oh, they got it. But you know what? They'll take it.
Is he smiling? He's like, man, y'all got to be the stupidest football team I've had.
Yes, he's
smiling. You know what the weather is down here? He's looking like, okay, I'm getting names.
He's smiling.
Look, he's looking, yeah, okay. If that's a smile. Man.
Well, you see, he's taking names, huh? Are you going to be back here next year, son?
He's like, man.
Was Reve Smith in that? That's all I want to know. He's the kid he kept saying, one more year. It was Reve Smith. But it's all good when you win. Here's a run to the right side. Right now, Edwards on the carry for, or they make that Mosley on the carry for Jackson State. Tonight, football night on ESPN at 8 Eastern. One college football player will transcend greatness and become a legend with the Heisman Trophy Award. Then at 9 Eastern, the greatest game ever played, presented by Sprint. The Heisman Trophy presentation. And the greatest game ever played. Both, one presented by Sprint, one presented by Nissan. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. All in high definition.
Talking about the voters again. Voters got some decisions to make, don't they? I love it. Former quarterback, hey, we're the best players on the field. 3 qualified candidates.
Why do they keep giving it to quarterbacks?
Because that's what we do.
Here they are. Whose name should be on there?
Now, I would tell you, does that surprise you knowing that Tim Tebow, his numbers surprised me because we talked about his numbers are down, but as a quarterback, you got a 28-2 touchdown interception ratio. That's phenomenal. Bradford's had one of the best years ever by a big-time college quarterback. But, I mean, 28-2, and they're saying Tebow's numbers aren't that strong?
And then Harrell's not on there. Of course, I think that's a travesty.
I think so, too. But they took it down to the final 3, and Harrell and Crabtree, they take votes from each other.
Unfortunately, first down and 10. Here's Mosley rolling to the left side. And he's just going to take off and run, and he's going to get punished as he gets down inside the 40-yard line.
Who do you give it to, Charlie?
Well, you know, early in the season, you and I, doing games early in the season, did not think Tebow had a chance. We thought his performance was really off. But as you look at what he's done coming late in the season, both not only with his arm and not throwing interceptions, but also his ability to run the ball and keep that team abreast, even with Harbin hurt and some of the other key players out of the lineup. And they beat the #1 team in the nation in knocking off Alabama. I have to give it to Tim Tebow.
I do too, but it seems to be, you know, looking at some of the polls, I mean, Bradford, I mean, wow, you look at Bradford, there's one
and I like Bradford.
I like him a lot too. Very smooth.
The only thing is, you look at those 48 touchdowns, a lot of them came late in those games. And of course, they were scoring 60 points in the last 6 ball games, and a lot of them, those points came late in contests.
I agree with that one. But I mean, the game they lost, you know, he showed up as well too on national TV. It's tough for me to give it to Bradford when Colt McCoy beat him in one-on-one competition. You can make an argument that Colt McCoy should have had that extra game to play in the Big 12 championship and be playing for a national championship. I just think those two are going to hurt each other. You know, I mean, it was Colt. We all agreed at one point it was Colt McCoy's Heisman to lose, but he lost it to Graham Harrell. And then it was Graham Harrell's Heisman to lose, and he lost it to Bradford potentially. But all the while, you know, it's kind of like in horse race. You know, Tim Tebow's, he's been down, but he's never been out. He did what he had to do to make this a close race at the stretch. So we'll find out tonight.
Well, we're down to the last possible play of the ball game here, as Mosley is going back and he's going to let it fly. Looking downfield, and this one's knocked away with 40 seconds to go. And that stops the clock.
So you believe that, are we watching the best team in black college football?
On the field they are. I would love to see them play South Carolina State. That'd be or Tuskegee.
Or Tuskegee.
I mean, you're talking about the playoffs, and you know, that would be very interesting. And Tuskegee, you know, I give them a lot of credit for being in the running up there because they're a Division II school. You know, but they play as well as any FCS school out there.
You know, that's what I tell a lot of people. They say, well, how can a Division II team being in competition for the best team in black college? Well, you know, the year that Alabama State won the SWAC championship, and they won the SWAC outright, they lost to Tuskegee. So
Greg Dillon, the MVP of this particular ball game, on the offensive side of the ball, 13 of 19 in the passing department, 145 yards, 3 touchdowns passing. He also ran one in for a touchdown. And you can't argue that. And on the defensive side of the ball, Kristen Anthony, he had a pretty good ball game with a couple of sacks to his credit. So they'll probably run one more play, and that'll probably do it unless Jackson State calls a timeout. It'll be 4th down. They're going to punt it away. Rob Broadway, congratulations to him. 2nd year. His 19th win as the coach at Grambling. He's the 9th coach in the history of Grambling. He was an assistant at Carolina, Florida, Duke, and East Carolina. We talked about him maybe being a candidate for some jobs other than Grambling State. I know he interviewed for the Duke job a year ago. Decided to come on back here to Grambling, and I know people in Greensboro interested in him coming back to North Carolina. We'll see what happens going forward, but he seems to be very happy here at Grambling. He's taken them to a championship game in just his 2nd year. He wins his 52nd game as a head coach after a successful career at North Carolina Central. There's Kristen Anthony, the defensive MVP. Young man out of Birmingham, Alabama. He's in front of the home crowd, so he's a very happy man. Played his high school ball at Carver High. Criminal justice major also. In fact, Reve Smith said, I'm going to take him with me. He's going to be my deputy when I become Secretary of
hey, Chiefs, act like you got
defense or something of that nature. Yes.
19 wins for Rob Broadway. Only about 390 more to go if you want to be ranked among the ranks of Eddie Robinson down at Grambling, Louisiana. But enjoy it. He worked hard for it.
And Grambling has won more SWAC titles than any other team. It's their 22nd and a record 5 wins in the SWAC championship game. More importantly, they walk away with the Black College National Championship, I believe, for the 14th time. And we want to say congratulations to Coach Rob Broadway and the G-men of Grambling, the 2008 SWAC football champions, to Greg Dillon, the championship game offensive MVP, and to Christian Anthony, the defensive MVP of this game. Your final thoughts quickly.
Well, my friend, it's been an interesting year of Black College football. Last game, you and I this year, we've seen some good ones. Buddy Pugh, South Carolina State, congratulations. Rob Broadway, congratulations, winning the SWAC championship.
All right, once again, our final score, Grambling wins it 41-9 over Jackson State. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Coming up next, top 5 reasons you can't blame the NCAA for not paying athletes. For Jay Walker, Charlie Neal saying so long from Birmingham, Alabama.